Maybe. Speed.
All right, there we go. We're going. We're rolling.
Yeah.
It's been a while since we've done this.
It's been a long time.
Yeah, but hey guys, this is your boy Bubba here, and I'm here with Debo. You know, two of the two handsome guys from the Fat Podcast, and this is episode 1 of Fat Asses Talking Wrestling.
Yeah.
So kind of going back to our roots, baby.
We were originally going to bring back BK, but I'm like, that brand is dead. So
Yeah.
I'm like, you might as well just keep it consistent. Just connect it to the Fat Podcast.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, we haven't been doing Fat Podcasts as much lately, and it's really kind of something that we just do as a hobby and for fun. But with Fat Asses Talking Wrestling, we could do it more on a consistent basis, especially now that I'm back to watching pro wrestling.
Yeah.
I've kind of fell off the wagon there really since WrestleMania. I haven't watched, but I would say for the better part of 2 years, I haven't consistently watched. And with all sports ending and everything in the last couple of weeks, I started watching again, and I'm like, man, I really kind of miss wrestling.
Yeah, I've been trying I've been paying attention to AEW like I always do.
Yeah.
But Raw, Smackdown, and NXT not so much. So yeah, I don't. I'll have a lot to say about AEW, and I watched Survivor Series and everything. So
yeah,
and I think I read the Raw results, but I don't really remember what happened.
Yeah, I just have a few plot things from Raw, just a few bullet points, I guess you can say, not plots, but I started watching WWE again, and of course the cynical fan in me always comes out. Well, this is going to happen, that's going to happen, and guess what? The things I thought were going to happen happened. But
yeah,
regardless of that, I still felt entertained with some stuff that's going on right now. But since we're on topic with it, let's just go ahead and let's just jump into it.
Yep.
So, like Dave says, we just got off a Survivor Series this past Sunday, and for the most part, it's a lackluster pay-per-view. It's the back end of the Big Four. Survivor Series, it has seemed like the last 15, 20 years or so turned into almost like a secondary type show. You don't get as excited as you usually would. But it had its moments. Dave, you've got your notes ready, so do you want to kick it off with whatever matches we had?
Well, before we jumped into it, I did want to say that now I forgot. Yeah, let's just jump into it.
All right.
I had a thought, and I'm fleeting. Got the touch of the Alzheimer's. So
I hope you're thinking what I think I'm thinking.
Too many chair shots to the head.
There you go. Too many of them broken skull IPAs.
Yeah.
No Segundo Brewery. Not a sponsor.
Yep. All right. Did you watch the pre-show?
I watched it. Yes, I did.
Okay. So the only match they had on the pre-show was the Battle Royal.
Yeah.
It ended up being won by The Miz, surprisingly. Like, I know he's like the Money in the Bank winner right now.
Yeah.
But usually Money in the Bank winners get treated a lot more poorly. So I was kind of surprised that he won.
Yeah. Well, he is The Miz, and he's a WWE's company man.
Yeah, and it makes sense. And he's probably about to get ready to win the title. Hopefully, he doesn't carry it into WrestleMania. But
yeah, but the way that the match ended, as far as like the typical heel, like being eliminated and then coming in and throwing the actual winner over the top rope. As soon as he rolled back into the ring after being knocked out into the apron, and then was it Mysterio who drop kicked him?
Dominic.
What?
So Dominic Mysterio.
Yeah. So I'm like, oh well, this is gonna happen. So whatever. It's The Miz. It's a pre-show battle royal. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah, I will say though, I was actually pretty entertained by it. I thought Chad Gable, which thank God they changed his name to Chad. Chad Gable.
See, I'm glad. I'm so glad I missed all that Shorty G bullshit.
Yeah.
I'm just like, that is a joke.
Yeah, he's even back to wearing a singlet, thank God. Because he was wearing these, like, weird basketball shorts and, like, a top of a singlet. It was just weird looking.
He's trying to look like one of the Street Profits or...
Yeah, something like that.
Basically.
But I thought he had a good showing, and him eliminating Jeff Hardy was a surprise.
Yeah, that was kind of cool.
Like, I know Jeff Hardy is in a feud with Elias right now, so...
Yeah.
And I'm not sure. I didn't read the Smackdown results from last night, but I don't know if they're still, like, continuing on with that feud. Or are they on Raw? I can't remember.
They're on Smackdown.
Yeah, but... yeah, I thought Chad Gable had a good showing. I thought Dominic looked pretty good.
Yeah.
You know, like, it just shows you how, like, for, like, as cynical as we are about WWE and everything, I will always say they have one of the most talented rosters.
Oh, no doubt about it. Like,
and with how good Dominic looks, just shows how talented the roster is.
And with how young he is too. I mean, he's still pretty green. One thing I've noticed, and it was kind of a trend throughout the entire show, but what I've noticed with a lot of the younger guys is they don't hit the ropes as hard as the other guys do. Like when Dominic was setting up for the 619, it's like when he bounces off the top rope, he barely touches it, and then just runs. Yeah, so
he'll eventually like probably go a lot harder than what he does. But
once he gets more comfortable.
Yeah, I mean, they're not going to be like Chris Hero running the ropes, breaking the ropes.
Or Tozawa.
Yeah.
I still remember he breaks the ropes because he weighs 600 pounds now. So
no, because he broke the ropes back when I saw him at PWG.
I remember. I remember.
That was funny. Miz looks good, so
we've all broken things while we're at PWG shows.
Oh yeah, I broke a chair.
You got an indie wrestling chant though, so
yep.
Put that on your list.
Yeah. Let's see. I did have one comment about the actual Survivor Series like theme. I thought it was kind of lame. They called it Best of the Best.
Yeah.
I was like, what? Just call it Survivor Series. It doesn't need to be anything else.
You're simply the best.
Let's see. Not really much else to say about the pre-show. I know the Gobbledygooker won the 24/7 title. I don't.
Which was Drew Gulak, right?
Yeah, I think so. Probably.
Yeah, technically, Drew Gulak won it, but he doesn't get it because he was a Gobbledygooker.
Yeah.
I still can't believe they're doing that.
Yeah. I mean, at least it's not. It would have been funny if it was actually Hector Guerrero.
Yeah, that would have been pretty funny.
But yeah, that's much for the pre-show. The beginning of the show actually started with the male 5-on-5 Survivor Series match.
Yeah.
Which led me to believe, because last year I think it didn't close the show, but it was. I don't remember opening the show.
Yeah.
But honestly, not much to say about this match either.
Red shirts versus blue shirts.
Yeah, no NXT this year, sadly.
Yeah,
that's what I have to say. That's what I have to say about last year is that I like the inclusion of NXT.
Yeah,
the whole.
It brought a level of excitement and a little bit of freshness to the concept.
Yeah. And I think the whole like triple threat aspect they've never done at Survivor Series.
Right.
So I thought that was nice, but they're back to doing the typical 5-on-5. It was
red shirts.
Yeah, on the red shirts it was AJ Riddle because he's not Riddle anymore.
Why do they keep doing that? Why do they take wrestlers' first names from them?
I don't know. They don't do it for everybody though. It's very inconsistent. Like like Rhea Ripley is still Rhea Ripley. She's not Ripley.
Yeah, pretty soon Keith Lee's just gonna be Keith.
I thought I heard a rumor that they were just gonna start calling him Lee, but that's just probably some bullshit that I heard.
Let's hope so.
Yeah. Then Keith Lee, Braun Strowman, and Sheamus, and then on the blue side it was Jey Uso, Kevin Owens, Otis, Rollins, and King Corbin. Which, why are they still continuing that gimmick?
Yeah.
Nobody likes Baron Corbin.
Well, yeah, I guess when nobody likes you, I guess they just strap you with the king gimmick because everybody will just hate you more.
Yeah.
It's cheap heat heel. That's what it is.
Yeah, very true.
Or cheap heel heat, I should say.
I do have to say, AJ's bodyguard is fucking gigantic.
Yeah, he is.
That dude has to be at least 7'5".
Now, what's his name? I know he's only got one name.
Oh man,
I don't remember. Amos?
Something like that. I don't remember. I don't watch it on like I said, I don't watch the show on a regular basis, so I'm not sure. And they don't call him by his name; they just call him AJ Styles.
AJ Styles bodyguard.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know what they're going to be doing with him, but the match, again, not great.
No.
It was a clean sweep for Raw. I was going to go through the eliminations. I have them written down, but it's kind of dark in my apartment, as you can see.
Just a little bit there.
What's up?
Yeah, it's just a little dark over there.
Yeah, a little dark. If I don't, I look way too white on the screen. Yeah. It bothers me. But
don't be ashamed to be white, Dave.
But I know the match ended. The last one for SmackDown was Jey Uso, and he had like the big comeback at the end, but just kind of fell short, which I thought was a nice touch.
Yeah.
But considering like he's a heel, it's like why are they giving him like that big babyface hope spot?
Yeah. Well, it was kind of like, because for me, I get why they did that, because he's still kind of in limbo on whether he's a face or a heel. He's being forced to be a heel by Roman.
Yeah.
And then given what happened in the champion versus champion match at the end, he finally made that complete turn. But we can get to that later. Yeah. The one elimination in the Survivor Series men's match that I found hilarious, but I enjoyed, was Seth Rollins being like the sacrificial lamb.
Yeah.
Like, I understand like he's taking time off because Becky's about to give birth here soon.
Yeah.
But I haven't been around with this whole like Messiah gimmick. So is there any backstory or anything that's going on with that right now?
All I know is that he I don't think it was anything like, I don't know.
It wasn't anything story driven.
I mean, besides him having that like holier than thou like attitude.
Okay.
That's the only thing I can think of. But I honestly think they just were like, oh, we have to write him off TV, so let's just do it this way. That's how we
do it. Okay, that makes sense. I enjoyed it. I thought it was hilarious. I'm like, what the fuck? And then then I remember, I'm like, oh, Becky's gonna have her baby, so
yeah.
But
I think I gave it I thought I had it written down. Hold on. No, I gave it a 2 out of 5.
Yeah.
So I mean,
it was underwhelming.
Yeah, because especially with how they do this Raw versus SmackDown thing, it's hard to write a story around it because it has zero consequences for like the rest of the year.
Yeah.
Like they don't even they didn't even mention last year that NXT won. And they weren't even counting, this is going to be, they weren't even counting victories for this is a Raw victory. This is a SmackDown victory.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's like that whole bragging rights thing. It kind of went out of the window.
Yeah.
I hope, honestly.
Go ahead.
No, I was just saying, I hope next year they drop the whole Raw versus SmackDown concept.
Yeah.
And they just go back to doing Survivor Series. Maybe do War Games or something on Survivor Series. Well, I know that's NXT's thing, but
they can still do the traditional 5-on-5 matches, but just may have one 5-on-5 for Raw, one 5-on-5 for SmackDown.
No, that's what I meant.
I mean, like on Raw right now, you can have the Hurt Business go up against the New Day +2.
Yeah.
So there's ways to work around it. It's just finding those ways.
Yeah.
They could have the Undertaker come down with a trench coat with the American flags sewn into its inseam. It's like
vaulting from the ceiling.
From the ceiling. Yeah. So.
Okay. All right. Any other thoughts on the 5-on-5?
No, it's just the concept's getting stale. I still hate the whole red and blue shirt thing. What made it more obnoxious this year was the fact that they had their networks on the back of the T-shirts.
Yeah, I saw that.
I think from now on, what they need to do is the losing team, that show gets automatically relegated to like WWE Network, and then like NXT or the winning brand will go on their time slot on Friday nights or Monday nights. Yeah. So.
Like, I wish they would at least put some consequences on the match. Like maybe the winning team, if you're like for like the male Survivor Series match, the winning team will get like number 30 in the Rumble.
Or the amount of number of superstars they get in the Rumble.
Yeah.
So like if you get like 15 from Raw, 15 from SmackDown, whoever wins will get like 20 or 23 or something like that.
Yeah.
So it reduces SmackDown's chances of winning superstars winning the Rumble. So.
Yeah. I think another thing is that none of the guys, I think it was, I thought I heard this stat, is that none of the guys that were on the Raw side were actually on Raw like before like a month ago or something like that, or before the draft.
Yeah, I don't know about that. So
yeah, but it was either that with the SmackDown team or the Raw team, something like that. It was I kind of agree that was kind of lame. It's like, how can you build up like brand loyalty and then just be like, oh, you're on Raw now, you're on SmackDown?
Yeah.
It's like, do these guys actually care? No, they don't. They just want to win a match. I'm just saying there needs to be some type of consequence for winning and losing the match. I think that would make it a lot more fun.
Oh yeah, absolutely. They're like we said, future consequence somewhere down the road. I do like the idea of like the Royal Rumble contestants. So
yeah. So the next match was the tag team match between the New Day and the Street Profits.
I love this match.
Oh yeah.
I was getting a little bit bored of the New Day back when I was watching wrestling full time.
Yeah.
And I'm like, they're still there. They're still doing their thing. I love the guys individually. I love their athleticism. They're great wrestlers, great storytellers and everything. The gimmick is a little stale. I'm not too familiar with the Street Profits. I really only know them from after WrestleMania.
Yeah.
And just the couple of weeks that they were on Raw, then when I stopped watching, I didn't really follow. Yeah. But I was entertained by them. I'm like, oh, these guys are pretty good. But just watching that match and watching the New Day kind of work as a heel team a little bit,
yeah,
was awesome. I love the fact that they actually focused on one single thing, which was what is it, Montez? What's the guy from Street Profit? The skinnier guy?
Yeah, Montez Ford.
How they actually worked his core and his abdomen. Yeah. And that actually came into play throughout the whole match and even later on in the match.
Yeah, when he hit that frog splash.
I thought that was, like, the psychology and the storytelling of that match was unbelievable. It's one of the best tag team matches I've ever seen.
Yeah. Like, I know a lot of people are debating on, I know a lot of people were saying it was better than the Young Bucks FTR. I respectfully disagree, but yeah, it was still a damn good match. And that the entrance gear for the New Day was pretty badass.
Yeah.
The whole, like, Gears of War thing. And it's so cool that they're in the game, in the Gears of War game. So
a big shout out to Xavier Woods getting hired by G4.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So that's pretty sweet.
I hope I'm curious what they're going to have him do. I think because I know if you listen to, like, the New Day pod, his dream is to host Nick Arcade.
No shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I hope they.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I just said I actually just started listening to the New Day podcast a couple weeks ago. So.
Oh, listen to the episode with Sami Zayn.
Yeah, I have it downloaded. That's one of the ones around too.
That one's pretty funny. So, nice. But yeah, I know Xavier said that he wanted to host Nick Arcade, and I hope that his role in on the G4 network is like a Nick Arcade type show.
Right, something in that capacity.
Yeah, but fantastic tag team match. Arguably, like, I thought it was the best match of the night.
It was.
I don't know. The main event was pretty good, but
Yeah.
Yeah, just just how good these guys are. And it sucks that the tag division in WWE is so bare because a lot of these guys are getting wasted. I think I didn't write a grade for this one. I'll give it a 4 out of 5.
I was about to say, oh, you got barbecue sauce on your notes and you can't read it, or what? Yeah, no, I give it a 4 out of 5 as well. Like I said, it was entertaining. The ending of the match, just it was once again predictable. With the other dude. I forgive me, wrestling fans. Like I said, I'm just getting back into it. But
the skinny guy is Montez Ford. The big guy is Angelo Dawkins.
Yeah, so Angelo Dawkins getting knocked off the apron.
Yeah,
and then doing the blind tag and all that. Yeah. Like as soon as you saw that, I was like, okay, that's what's gonna happen. Street Profits are gonna pull it out somehow. So,
dude,
go ahead.
Angelo Dawkins has been in the WWE for like a decade.
No shit.
Like pretty close, yeah. Like he was on NXT when Xavier Woods was in NXT.
Oh damn, yeah, he's been there.
Yeah, he's been there a long time.
Okay.
So.
Yeah. Forgive me, I'm still learning the names. So
yeah.
But like I said, fantastic match. I still love Xavier Woods. I've always loved Kofi, and I just love watching those guys work. And the Street Profits, gotta give them a thumbs up on that one. They did a hell of a job as well.
The only criticism I have is just the treatment of Big E.
Yeah.
Like, they had him make his entrance with the New Day, and they, sort of, split him off from the New Day when they drafted him over to SmackDown.
Mm-hmm.
But they haven't done anything with him.
Right. Is he hurt?
No, he's healthy, and they're just not doing anything with him. And, there was a report, a few months back, or, around the draft when they split him up, that Big E was in line for a big push.
Yeah.
But nothing has came of it, and I don't think he did anything on SmackDown, as far as I know.
Hopefully he doesn't have any heat or anything backstage.
Yeah, I hope not.
So
I mean, you know how that is. Every time somebody's like, "Oh, somebody's in line for a big push," and then
nah, baby, that's with somebody else.
Yeah, and then a month later, nothing comes of it.
Yeah.
Braun Strowman was in line for a big push. When he first came up, and he feuded with Reigns, but then he just kind of started doing nothing.
Yeah.
And then they gave him the title when he was probably at his least popular.
Yeah, when he's on the downslide of his hotness. So
yeah, it's like TNA Joe all over again.
Yeah, because I was actually listening to the Lillian Garcia podcast, and Braun Strowman was on there, and they were talking about the push that he was getting back in the Royal Rumble 2019.
Yeah,
and having him and his title push back then, and Vince telling him that he's not ready.
Yeah,
come on, you never wanted to give this guy the title. And I love Braun. I really like Braun, but the only reason they gave him the Universal title is because Roman got sick.
Yeah,
or was out because of COVID. So
yeah, no, I think he just left just out of just for protection of his family.
Precautionary things for COVID.
Yeah, precaution, because. No, I don't think he had a kid, but I know his daughter.
His wife was pregnant, I think.
Oh, is she?
Well, at the beginning of the year, I think his wife was 8 or 9 months pregnant and was about to give birth to their youngest kid. So from what I remember, I could be wrong, but probably not.
Yeah, but good guy Roman.
Yeah, good guy Roman.
Yeah.
Tribal chief.
Yeah. Any other thoughts on the tag team match?
No, out of all the WWE content I've been watching lately, I know the tag team division is a little bare, but most of the entertainment I get that I've really enjoyed is coming from the tag team division.
Yeah.
I really like the New Day. I like Street Profits. Like I said earlier, I mentioned the Hurt Business. I really like them. Yeah. So, every time we feel like, oh, the tag team division is on the uprise and the tag team division is going to kind of get back to where it was in the Attitude Era, they always do something to fuck that up.
Yeah.
And, I hope that they take the opportunity and they actually see that they have great talent in the tag team pool and they actually utilize it and make something out of it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know, they're in that streak of just breaking up tag teams. They broke up Heavy Machinery the month prior to that. So it's okay, I don't get it, but whatever.
Yeah.
So hopefully,
what happened to the Viking? Oh well, one of the Viking Raiders is hurt, right?
Yeah, one of them got hurt. I think it was Eric.
Yeah,
that got hurt, or Ivar. I don't
think
remember.
It's Ivar,
the bald one.
Yeah,
the one that looked badass on Raw Underground,
yeah.
and then they did nothing with him.
Yeah.
Speaking of Raw Underground, what happened now? Never mind.
We don't want that back.
No. The next match was the IC champ versus the US champ. Sami Zayn versus Booby Lashley.
What, Booby?
Booby Lashley. It was what it was. It was a character performance for Zayn.
Mm-hmm.
Lashley looking dominant like he should.
Yeah.
This is the Bobby Lashley we should have got when he first came back instead of smiling Bobby Lashley.
Yeah.
And at least
we got the Bobby Lashley that left when he came back. So
yeah, we got the. Hopefully they'll do more with him because Bobby Lashley. I think who was it? Who was he feuding with? He had a title match with Drew, right? I can't remember, but he was looking pretty good. And then, I thought they should have put the title on him at the time, but so hopefully they continue his momentum.
Yeah. So. Yeah, he's definitely improved. I it's the first, like I said, it's the first time I've watched Bobby Lashley wrestle in months.
Yeah.
And I would usually fall asleep during most Bobby Lashley matches, but I'm like, damn, he's really improved and he's kind of upped his game. His repertoire is getting a little bit deeper, and the whole Hurt Locker, whatever it's called, the full Nelson finisher that he does. I'm like, it's kind of lame, but for the most part, though, he looks good. His character seems to be pretty polished, and I think putting him in that stable with a guy like MVP who could talk for him is actually going to be more beneficial for him than anything.
Well, I think MVP might have been his manager in TNA, or his mouthpiece in TNA.
All right.
If I remember correctly, I'm not sure.
Nobody watches TNA.
He looked good in TNA. He had a match with Drew back in TNA. It was pretty good.
Yeah.
For the TNA World Title.
All right.
But yeah, it was just that typical heel versus heel thing. Sami Zayn being the snaky, guy that he is running. Or Sami Zayn is amazing.
He's hilarious, man.
Yeah.
He's hilarious.
I always thought that it was a mistake to turn Sammy heel because he is such a natural babyface.
Yeah.
He's a guy that you want to cheer, but at the same time, as a heel, he's also a guy you want to cheer.
Yeah.
He's just good, and I hope that this IC title reign leads to more for him.
Yeah.
At least help it elevate the IC title because that's, I think that the IC title deserves it.
Yeah. It's been a while since the IC title has been the bar has been raised for it.
Yeah.
It's been a few years, but.
Yeah, I know that he had a match with Bryan on Smackdown, so I have to go back and watch that.
Go back and watch it. So.
Yeah. Yeah, not much to say. Sammy tried to get away. He ended up taking a hurt lock, tapped out immediately too.
Yeah.
He didn't fight it. He just tapped out immediately, which I thought was a nice touch.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. Any other thoughts on the champion match?
No, I thought it was good. Told a good story. I liked how Sammy tried to do every single little sneaky thing he possibly could to either get disqualified or have the Hurt Business kicked out from ringside. I love the ending of the match when he was walking backwards and tripped over MVP, and he tried to sell it.
He put his foot next to MVP's and was
I love that. I thought that was clever, and I like this Castro Sami Zayn type character. So it's pretty funny.
Now, hopefully they could just get some decent merch for him, and then we'll be all good.
Yeah, WWE merch isn't all that great anymore.
Yeah. Let's see. All right, the next segment was Roman threatening Jay and Jimmy.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting how they're doing that. He like dismissed Jimmy and was like, "No, you could leave." And then he was like talking to Jay,
be your own man.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they do with Jay going into like WrestleMania season. Both Jay and Jimmy.
Yeah.
So because the way they're promoting it seems like he's in line for like a big babyface push.
Right, like almost kind of like Kofi.
Yeah. So maybe hey, cool. If he ends up getting a WrestleMania match with like Roman, that'd be pretty awesome.
Yeah. Or a triple threat match.
Yeah, or a triple threat match. That'd be pretty cool.
Be pretty sweet.
Yeah.
What's wrong with Jimmy? Is Jimmy hurt?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And at least now we can kind of tell them apart because they have different hairstyles.
Yeah. I still can't tell them apart. So I've never had that talent. I have the hardest time telling twins apart. So
yeah, because Jay has like this like mullet thing going right now.
Yeah.
And then Jimmy has like the cornrows and everything. So
right.
Yeah, but the next match was Asuka versus Sasha.
Solid match.
Yes, people like raved about this match. To be completely honest, I like both women, but I think both women are like two of the best wrestlers. I'm not saying women's wrestlers. I'm just saying wrestlers, period, in the company. Like at least top 20, and that says a lot with this talent.
Yeah.
And like there were parts where I was like, I'm kind of uninterested, but then it would just like hook me like at random times.
Yeah.
But let's see. Yeah, Banks ended up picking up the win. Considering that's another thing. Considering that Sasha, whenever she wins the title, she's always like booked to be an awful champion, like a Rey Mysterio.
Right.
And so seeing her finally get like wins, like big wins, I think it's a nice touch.
Yeah. It's almost like she needs it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely.
Asuka doesn't need that kind of rub because everybody knows that Asuka is a dominant champ and a dominant wrestler, no matter what brand or who she's wrestling. Sasha kind of needs it, especially coming off how she became women's champion again.
Yeah.
So.
But she's also relying a lot on the Meteora, which I thought was it's that double knee splash. Yeah. She does that a lot more often, I noticed.
I've seen that too. So
yeah, but good match. Can't really say much else about it. I think I gave it like a 3 out of 5.
Yeah, like I said, it was solid middle of the road. I mean, I won't rave about it because I saw a match like 4 days prior to that on Dynamite that was way better than that match, and I will rave about for a long time.
Yeah.
With Serena Deeb and Thunder Rosa, but
but
yeah, it was okay. I mean,
yeah. Let's see. Next match. I need to like make like a long list, like a Jericho list of notes.
Yeah.
The next match was the women's 5-on-5. The red shirts, it was Nia Jax, Shayna Baszler, Lacey Evans, Peyton Royce, and Lana. On the blue shirt side, it was Bayley, Bianca Belair, Ruby Riott, Liv Morgan, and Natalya. Good showcase for Bianca Belair, I thought.
Yeah.
The ending was predictable as hell.
Yeah.
Everybody predicted that.
Yeah. Ending. If you went into that watching that match thinking that Lana wasn't going to come out as the sole survivor, you're a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
Because they've been building this for weeks and weeks and weeks, and they've really been hammering it home the last like 2 or 3 weeks on Raw.
Yeah.
About her not, being wanted on Team Raw and her not being good enough. And, this is Nia Jax's team. And it's it's like, of course Lana was going to come out on top and be the sole survivor.
Yeah.
So
didn't she pin Natty in the match, correct? Let's see.
I think so. I want to say Natty was the first one eliminated, wasn't she?
Yeah, I think so. My notes are all over the place. I'm not going to even bother looking at them.
But
the ending, like, I know a lot of people are like, "Oh, that was a terrible ending." After really thinking about it, I was like, fine, but at the same time, it's like they want to promote Lana as a face.
Yeah.
But they're not not giving her like the baby face like rub. They're treating her like a heel.
Yeah.
So it's very like confusing with what they want to do with her.
They're trying to make her a face based off of sympathy.
Yeah.
And it's not really how you make a face, because what's going to happen is if you keep having her win matches like this, or putting her stories where, okay, she's going to end up on top, but how she got there is kind of stupid.
Yeah.
The fans are eventually going to turn on that, and and they're not going to care. You got to give her a little bit of fight.
Yeah.
But, who am I? I'm just a fan. So.
Yeah. But like I said, Bianca Belair looked good in the match, which was good. She has future star written all over her, so I hope they don't ruin that talent.
She has current star written on her.
Right I'm saying, like, the way people look at like Charlotte and Sasha,
top of the division.
Yeah, in a few years, in like maybe like a year or two, Bianca Belair is going to be at that level.
I hope so.
Yeah, and one thing that I'll say, WWE, they have a good women's division if they consolidate it.
Yeah.
If they just kind of merge it all into one show, like their women's division would be impeccable.
Yeah.
So, but so I'm just glad that was a good showcase. Even like Peyton Royce, I thought looked pretty good.
Yeah.
For the match, Natty. It's kind of interesting what they're doing with Natty. They're like, oh yeah, she's our veteran, so we'll like push her, but not really push her.
Yeah.
Like she was like I think Lana, she was the only one to like had to win a match to get on her team, and Natty, she had like 3 tries to get onto the SmackDown team.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was very interesting, I thought. So, let's see what rating I gave the match. Funny enough, I did get sauce on my notes. That's why they're stuck together.
It's okay. I got some in my beard right here. I keep tasting it.
Yeah.
As a buffalo.
2.5 out of 5.
Yeah.
So I think that's appropriate.
Yeah.
But the last match of the night was World Champion versus World Champion. Drew McIntyre versus Roman Reigns, the Tribal Chief.
The Tribal Chief.
Yeah. Roman is doing the absolute best work of his career.
Hell yeah, he is.
Like, and that's saying something, because Roman, like, probably the highest point before this was his run with Braun Strowman. And then before that, it was the Shield.
Yeah.
So, like, there's been periods where he's been just, like, there and, like, not really deserving. I hate using that word deserving, but not really, like, I don't know. Like, sometimes his spot is there, but this Roman, he's despicable. He's an asshole, and I fucking love watching clips of him.
Oh, dude.
I can't wait until whoever the baby face is he's facing, like, finally pops him a good one and defeats him, because he's doing some of the best work.
Yeah, when Roman came back at SummerSlam, and then I saw that they put Paul Heyman with him, I'm like, oh, that could be very interesting. And I would kind of check in and read results of what was going on. Yeah. And then I just tuned in. What was the first pay-per-view where he fought Jey Uso?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hell in a Cell?
Yeah, Hell in a Cell. Yeah. I'm like, well, you told me to watch.
Is it? No, I think it might have been the month before that.
Yeah, it was the month before that, because I can't remember what pay-per-view it was, but you told me, oh, hey, watch this match. It was really good. And then I asked you, how was the Roman Reigns Jey Uso match? And you said, oh, it was okay. It was very story-driven. I'm like, all right, I'll check it out. And I had no background what was going on with this, and I watched it. I'm like, dude, Roman is on fire. I'm like, I love this side of him. I'm like, I've never. I was like, it's so natural.
Yeah.
To him, he's not being forced to be a babyface or the guy. Like,
yeah.
I'm like, this is awesome. I'm like, he is ruthless. You said, he's despicable.
Yeah, like you kind of saw glimpses of this when he defeated the Undertaker.
Yeah.
Like he came out the next night and then just stood in the ring while the crowd just serenaded him with booze.
Right.
And then he barely said anything and walked away.
Yeah.
Like that was kind of like the proto Reigns that we have now. That was like proto tribal chief.
Right.
But this now, like his promo work has been excellent. His just the way, just how mean and despicable he is, it fits so well.
And the aggression and the pace that he's working in the ring.
Yeah.
Because he's slowed down a lot.
Yeah.
And he's working very heelish. And I'm like, dude, this is brutal. I love it. It's so good. And then having Paul Heyman there just to amplify it. Because Roman Reigns is like, yeah, I'm the shit. I'm the tribal chief. And then Paul Heyman brings it up here. And I'm like, it's just a perfect mixture of things for Roman Reigns. I'm like, I kind of like Roman Reigns now. They're like, this is awesome. This is what I've wanted for years.
Like, what I like the dynamic between, like, you look at the dynamic between Paul Heyman and Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
Heyman's there to cut promos for Brock. He's there to raise him up. And be like, this is the man, this is the beast. Roman just kind of has Paul off to the side.
Yeah.
And it's like, I just have him here because I can afford him type thing.
Right.
Because I just want him here.
Yeah.
I don't need him to, boost me up. I know who I am.
Yeah.
It's a very interesting dynamic.
Yeah, it's like Belo to the Croc. The brother's breaking.
It's not the same dynamic as the way that Punk and Heyman worked, but it's very close.
Yeah.
Like
very similar.
Yeah, very similar. But Roman is doing the best of his career. On the other hand, Drew at the same time is also doing the absolute best work of his career.
Yeah.
I mean, I know he's a pretty good mic worker and everything, but it's been a long time since we've had like a babyface champion that actually feels like a top guy.
Yeah.
Like, no offense to Kofi. I love Kofi.
Yeah.
But the way WWE treated him, he felt like a secondary champion.
Yeah.
Drew, on the other hand, does not feel like a secondary champion.
Right.
He feels like, with Reigns, it's like 1A and 1B. As opposed to 1 and 2.
Right. Well, I think what helps Drew out, he's awesome on the mic. Yeah. He's awesome in the ring. And just his overall look and the way that he carries himself. He carries himself like a face champion. He carries himself like he cares and like he wants it.
Yeah.
It's like we know Drew McIntyre's story. Yeah. We know that he was Vince McMahon's chosen one when he first debuted back in the early 2005, whatever it was.
I think it was like 08, but
whatever,
like
around there. Yeah. So
he was in WWE for a little while before they brought him on the TV.
Right, and then we know that story, and now it's like, okay, he's back, and he doesn't want to relive what he went through. So. Yeah. We have this guy that he's like, I'm going to represent myself. I'm going to represent my company, and I'm going to represent the people as a champion. And it's like he's just he just carries himself in a different way that a guy like Kofi Kingston. And like I said, like I love Kofi, I will always love him, but he will always be a secondary champion guy in my eyes.
Yeah.
Because, he's the New Day. He's a silly, goofy comedy act guy sometimes. Like, he's great in the ring and he's a good storyteller, but he just doesn't carry himself like that top-level main eventer. Yeah. Like Drew does. Like current Roman Reigns is doing.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, though. I know Kofi's capable of it.
Oh, absolutely.
It's just
everybody's capable of it.
Yeah, I mean, there's some guys that aren't capable of it, but I think when it comes down to it, it's with what you're given. Yeah. When the brass, when Vince or Bruce Pritchard or Paul Heyman or whoever the fuck the bookers are now don't see you as a top guy, you're not going to be, you're not going to be given the best material to work with. And luckily they see Roman and they see Drew that way.
Yeah.
So they do look good. And even going even like Randy is probably doing the best work.
Oh yeah.
Of it, probably of like the last like 10 years.
Oh yeah.
The best work he's done in about 10 years. Fuck, he's been in WWE for a long time.
Like I haven't been this interested in Randy Orton since the Legend Killer stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, we had a lot of Randy Orton thrown down our throats for many, many years. I mean, and you can say the same with Cena.
Yeah.
I think what's happened, especially with Randy Orton, has been less is more. Because we haven't had Randy Orton shoved down our throats every single Monday night, every single pay-per-view main event. We've gotten a nice long break from Randy Orton. And now he's gotten all these nice new fresh guys to work with. He himself has matured and he's taking on more of a mentor role.
Yeah.
And he's actually taken the time to really develop himself into a better character.
Yeah. Well, I know he did an interview where he's like, "Oh yeah, I learned how to cut a promo," and that's very true.
Yeah. He's actually a funny guy. I was listening to After the Bell, the Corey Graves podcast.
Yeah.
And he had Randy Orton on a couple weeks ago, and that dude's hilarious, man.
Yeah.
I was like, I like this Randy Orton.
I like that one thing that he does on Twitter where he like criticizes like the spot monkey like slapping legs wrestling, but then he promotes it.
Then he says and promotes it. Yeah.
Yeah, like he was he retweeted like I think it was either Anderson or Gallows about Talking Shop at Mania 2.
Yeah.
So like he's like, oh, this is an insult, and then but he still retweeted it like kind of like tongue in cheek. So I thought that was kind of funny.
He even said in that interview with Corey Graves that he does shit like that on purpose because he likes getting a rise out of people.
Yeah.
So like he was talking about how he took a picture in front of a plane, like a private plane, and he tweeted it out with no story, no caption whatsoever. So everybody thought he went out and bought a plane. So he said even Undertaker came up to him. He's like, "Hey, brother." He's like, "Hey, brother, nice plane." And he's like, "It's the biggest rib in the business right now." So, he's a funny guy. So, but professionally on screen though, he's been fantastic. I'm like, dude, this was like Randy Orton's kicking ass now. I like this.
It'll be interesting to see what they do with him going into WrestleMania season.
Yeah.
What I like what they're doing with Raw is that they have multiple people going for the title.
Yeah.
As opposed to just one guy.
Yeah.
Like, am I supposed to believe that just one guy is fighting to become champion?
Right.
No, everybody wants to be champion. And, you got The Miz, you got Keith Lee, you got Randy Orton.
AJ Styles.
Strowman. I like how this is good. I think it'll make WrestleMania a lot more interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And, who knows what they're going to do with it. And it's pretty funny to say with Raw, this is the first time that I'm actually looking forward to what a future card might look like.
Yeah.
So.
I'm not jumping too far ahead with it. I mean, because we still have Royal Rumble we have to get to. So.
But even that makes that more interesting.
Right.
There's no, like, in my head, I can't think of anybody that's like a clear defined winner.
No.
Of the Royal Rumble, and usually around Survivor Series time, you kind of get that.
Yeah.
You kind of get that hunch, like, oh, it's going to be John Cena or Roman Reigns or Brock Lesnar, or whatever. And it could be those guys, but who knows? But I think my grade on the match was 3.5 out of 5. Yeah. Actually, I take that back. I'll change it to a 4. It's almost as good as a tag match, but not as good. So.
Yeah, it was the second best match of the night, easily.
Yeah.
But, I like the pace of the match. I love the way that Roman worked. I love the way that Drew worked.
Yeah.
And
I mean
those guys.
The WrestleMania. I mean, not the WrestleMania, but the WWE main event scene has not been this interesting in a long time.
No.
Like a long, long time. Now, hopefully, they can actually do something with it as opposed to what they typically do.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we found out which direction they're going for what TLC is the next pay-per-view.
Yeah, I think it's. I don't know. It's kind of confusing. Speaking of that, because I know you're probably going to want to mention what Adam Pearce did on Raw, which made me laugh.
Yeah.
But going into Raw, they did like the big setup. It was all the guys from like Survivor Series or whatever fought each other.
Well, the show Raw started off with all 5 guys in the ring pleading their case to why they should have a title shot, and Braun Strowman ends up physically assaulting Adam Pearce and gets himself suspended.
Yeah.
So
I read that, and they're like, "Oh, the real reason why Braun Strowman was suspended," and I didn't read the article, so I'm like,
I'm sure he's injured or he's just nursing something right now.
Yeah, but
because they had him penciled in the main event for TLC.
Yeah, so I know I read something from Meltzer or something that the rumor is that no matter who wins the triple threat match, that it'll still be Braun Strowman. So I hope not. I hope they actually do. They hold off on that and just maybe pencil him in for Royal Rumble
or do a 4-way match.
Yeah, or do a 4-way match.
Just do a 5-way TLC match.
Yeah, but that would be fun.
Yeah.
Especially with all the big dudes. I think that, kind of falling off ladders, I think that'd be interesting.
Yeah, hey, and we feared about that before. I can't remember which ladder match it was, but it was like Big Show, Kane, and another big guy. We're like, God, this could be the worst ladder match ever. And we're like, that was actually pretty good. So,
I actually think it was out of Money in the Bank.
Out
of Money in the Bank.
It was a Money in the Bank match, yeah.
Yeah, so... And it actually ended up being a pretty decent match. Who were the winners of the matches? Like, what's the match for next week?
So the match next week it was AJ over Orton, Riddle over Sheamus, which was a really good match. So if you haven't watched it, watch it. And then Keith Lee defeated. Oh my God, who was it? Who were the other Survivor Series guys?
I don't know.
Keith Lee and
I should take down better notes.
I should have a better memory than this. So
yeah, it's the touch of the Alzheimer's. I think we both have it.
Yeah.
It must have not been somebody that was in that match.
Okay. Yeah. Well, Keith Lee won. So
yeah,
I think it was Lashley.
Yeah.
Keith Lee versus Lashley. Yeah, which was a pretty interesting match too.
Yeah.
Watching 2 powerhouses go at it. But yeah, the Riddle Sheamus match was very entertaining, very exciting to watch. I love how Riddle kind of does that Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 thing by calling Sheamus Fireface.
Yeah.
And, off the Taserface thing from Guardians of the Galaxy. It's pretty fun.
Yeah. They're weirdly doing this thing with Riddle where they're kind of making him Rob Van Dam version 2.
Yeah, they are.
Where he's just like, oh, I'm just a cool bro, which is kind of like Riddle, like if you've ever heard him talk.
Yeah.
But it's like, he's more than that.
Yeah. So. Well, it's the king of the bros amped up to 12.
Yeah.
He's turned that little bro knob just a little bit higher than it should. But Sheamus and Riddle have really good chemistry together. And I really hope that we get to see more of them down the line.
I'm surprised with, like, when people are like, oh, that was a really good match, people like, in regards to Sheamus, I'm like, Sheamus is a really good wrestler.
Yeah.
I mean, did you know, like, I know it's been a long time. It's been about 8 years, weirdly thinking about it, but his matches with Daniel Bryan.
Yeah.
Like, that match, I think it was, that 2 out of 3 falls that he had with Daniel Bryan. Yeah. That was, in my opinion, that's one of my favorite matches of all time.
Yeah. No,
especially coming off the heels of that WrestleMania where Bryan lost in like fucking 10 seconds. Yeah. Like I was pissed about that match because I knew what Sheamus was capable of, what both Sheamus and Bryan were capable of.
Yeah.
So, like, whenever somebody's like, "Oh, Sheamus had a good match," it's like, "Yeah, okay."
Yeah.
I'm like, the dude is fucking talented.
No, he's always been a solid worker. I've always liked Sheamus. I've always enjoyed him. I mean, his early stuff with Cena and all that, of course, it wasn't great. Sheamus was still new in the company, learning WWE style, but when he's got a solid dance partner like your Daniel Bryans, like your Matt Riddles, and guys like that, he has unbelievable chemistry with those guys.
And I know with Matt Riddle, like, I know a lot of people are a little bit iffy on him right now, considering, the allegations that were put up against him and everything. The dude is legitimately one of the best workers around. And, I hope that whatever proof or whatever comes out, that I hope everything comes out good for him, because he is a legitimately talented person.
Yeah.
And, the dude, he's been, kicking ass on the independents and NXT for a long time. So, yeah, I mean, I'll have to go back and watch that match with Sheamus. Everybody said that match was great. And usually you'll see people are like, "Oh, it was okay." No, everybody I've watched, all the wrestling YouTubers, What Culture Wrestle Talk, Brian Zane, they all said that match was fucking fantastic.
Right.
So, yeah, I'll have to go back and watch it.
Yeah, check it out.
Yeah. Do they haven't really promoted anything in regards to what they're doing with Bobby Lashley or anything, have they? Not yet.
Not much of anything yet.
Yeah.
The only thing I remember about from Raw and the Hurt Business was the tag match.
Yeah.
Which had a botched.
Did it?
Well, it wasn't supposed to be a. It seemed like it was a botch. They saying that it wasn't, but the psychology was very weird. Where it ended in a double count out.
Yeah.
With the New Day, and the New Day, they were starting to walk up the ramp towards the back, and then MVP got on the mic and said, "You guys don't want to win like that. You like making the New Day look like heels again."
Yeah.
So it was just kind of weird. It was a great match, but yeah, I don't remember anything with Lashley though.
Yeah, interesting. It was Alexander and Shelton. Yeah. That's cool that they're actually doing something with Shelton. They've had him on the roster for a couple years now, and they haven't really done anything with him.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I know the guy is over 40 now, which is amazing because he's still in fantastic shape.
And he can still go, too.
Yeah. So, I mean, a lot of guys right now are nearing that 40-year-old mark.
Yeah.
And I actually have something to say about that. It's funny to think how talented guys are. Like, you look at Kofi or Shelton Benjamin or all these AJ Styles. These guys that are almost 40 or 40 and over.
Yeah.
And they're still at the top of their game. Yeah. You wouldn't have seen this 20 years ago.
Oh no, because their bodies would be completely gone.
Yeah, I was watching Michael Hayes wrestle in 98 or 99 when he was with the Hardy Boys.
Yeah.
And who did he wrestle? I forgot who he wrestled, but they're like, "Oh yeah, he was 42 right there." And I'm like, it's crazy just in 20 years how 40-year-olds look compared to how 40-year-olds look now.
Shit, when Michael Hayes was managing the Hardys, I thought he was in his 60s.
No, the dude was legitimately only 40 years old. Wow. Yeah.
But it's I just think it's the way that wrestlers, much like professional athletes in general, it's just the culture of how they take care of their bodies. And rather than focusing on fame and partying and doing like that, like a lot of athletes used to do back in the 70s and 80s and even 90s. Yeah. Now it's more about taking care of your body, good nutrition, making sure you're working out, being on a regimen.
Yeah.
And then not doing those types of things in access like a lot of wrestlers did in their heydays. I mean, the reason why those guys look so old back in the 90s and they were only in their early to mid 40s is because all the drugs that they did.
Yeah. But you even look at like somebody like Flair. Like Flair could well into like his 50s. Like he was at the top of his game well into his 50s. But like even he didn't look as good as some of the guys look now.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh yeah. Well, like even Flair in his 40s looked like he was still in his 60s. So he did.
Yeah, very true.
He did. So look at late 90s WCW Ric Flair. He was probably in his 40s right there, right? Mid to late 40s at least.
Probably.
Yeah, and he looked like he was in his 60s. Yeah. Compared to like Shelton Benjamin and AJ Styles, who are already in their 40s. Even Cena, who's in his 40s. Randy Orton is like late 30s, almost in his 40s.
Yeah.
And they all look fantastic.
It's kind of cool.
I mean, 36, I still look good.
But yeah, it's cool to see these guys be able to. It's like if you like listen to wrestling podcasts and whatnot, like a lot of guys, like especially like the New Day, like I was listening to an episode and they were like talking about how much they miss house shows.
Yeah,
because house shows are fun for them. They could be wacky, they could be creative, because they don't care what they do.
Yeah,
but I'm like, for as much as you miss house shows, you're probably extending your career
by 10 years at least.
By like 5 or 10 years.
Yeah.
Because you're not wrestling, 4 times a week.
You're not on the road.
Yeah.
That's what really kills you is the travel.
Yeah. And it's just pretty amazing to see it. Like, I want these guys to have fun, but at the same time, I want to see these guys wrestle as long as I can.
Yeah.
And be, healthy when they're finally done with wrestling.
Yeah.
So that'll be, hopefully everything works out for them. And when we're past this COVID stuff, it'll be interesting to see what WWE does in regards to like house shows or anything. I know they pretty much said that they're
done with house shows.
Yeah. Which you can think it kind of sucks for them because that's one less of a payday for wrestlers, but hopefully they'll actually, do something.
I hope they don't fully get rid of house shows, but they just limit it to like around certain times, like before WrestleMania to help promote, and then before SummerSlam. And they should do like 3 house show circuits a year, before WrestleMania, before SummerSlam, and before the Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
But that's it. Like, you don't have to go out. You don't have to be on the road 4 or 5 days a week.
Yeah.
Give these guys somewhat of an off season. Show up to Monday, Wednesday, or Friday, whatever brand you're on for TV. Yeah. Go home, take a week off, stay in shape, do your appearances, whatever, and then have house show circuits.
Yeah.
So,
but yeah, what's the SmackDown title scene looking like?
Well, it's Roman.
I know it's Roman. Like, I read the results, and I know he had a segment with Jay where he kind of, like, despite the fact that in the main event of Survivor Series where Jay helped him, he still kind of, like, criticized him.
I haven't watched SmackDown. I haven't read the results yet. I did see that it looks like Roman and Kevin Owens are going to work a little program for TLC. I'm not 100% sure. Like I said, I haven't watched SmackDown yet. I haven't read any results, but we could touch on that next time we do a podcast, whether it's next week or whatever.
Yeah.
But that's what it's looking like right now. I guess they said that they started a couple of fresh feuds on SmackDown last night, so I'll have to go back and watch.
On the next episode, I'll have better notes written down.
Yeah. So basically, I'm guessing our format is we'll start Fridays on SmackDown. Yeah. And then we'll just move on from there.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, but
every Saturday type of thing, or every other Saturday, whatever we feel like.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah. We're doing this because we haven't done our other show in a while. So.
Yeah, and we'll get into that at the end of the episode. Any other thoughts on Raw and SmackDown?
No.
No.
It's going to be around that time where things will start getting a little bit more interesting. I think. Especially after the new year, not so much going into TLC or after TLC, because for me, that's always like the middle to end of December has always been dead time because of the holidays. They'll do tribute to the troops. However, that's going to go this year. And then everything will really start coming together the first week of the first Monday of January, first Friday of January, and Royal Rumble is just right in the corner. That's when things really start kicking into full gear, and we'll have a lot to talk about.
Yeah. All right. Now I haven't been watching NXT. I know I'm kind of a hypocrite because when the Wednesday night war started, I was like, oh, awesome! I get to watch both shows. Well, it's fucking hard to watch both shows, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because weirdly, I'm one of those guys that if it's not on live, it's hard for me to watch back, especially if I run into results from other like let's say I'm on Twitter, and it's like, oh, Gargano loses to was it Leon Ruff or whatever? Yeah. And I'm like, well, that's the biggest newsworthy thing of the show. I guess I'm not going to watch it.
It's actually turning into a pretty okay feud. Leon Ruff is actually pretty fun to watch.
Yeah.
He's still green as goose shit, but I keep calling him Leo Rush because the names just sound so familiar. They're built exactly alike, and but it's now turning into like this triple threat type thing with Leon Ruff, Damian Priest, and Johnny Gargano.
Yeah.
And I think it's next at War Games. They're going to have a triple threat match for the
War Games.
War Games. They had a segment this past Wednesday on NXT. They were all on the Kevin Owens show, and it was one of the worst segments I've seen in a very long time. I was watching it, and I'm like, this is one of the reasons why I stopped watching wrestling to begin with. It was almost like they treated it like, okay, Leon Ruff is a rookie. He's only been wrestling for like a week, and the interview process with him and Kevin Owens at the beginning was like Kevin Owens trying to coach him like on a 2K game. Yeah. Like, okay, buddy, we need you to do this, and we need you to do that, and we need you to say it like this, and then it turned into like Kevin Owens like, hey, don't say anybody's name, because every time you say someone's name on the Kevin Owens show, they always come out. And then he would do like a countdown thing, and then there's a long pause, and then the music would hit, and then Kevin would joke. He's like, well, my timing was off, but I told you. And then Gargano would come out.
So Kevin Owens is the star of that segment, pretty much.
Kevin Owens was hilarious, but it was just a little bit it was really, really cheesy and really, really campy. But
I know when Gargano came out, he mentioned like a movie, and I think it might have been like Austin Powers or something, and Kevin Owens is like, oh, timely reference there.
It was no. Gargano came out and he said, what is this, some kind of a prank show? What, is Ashton Kutcher going to jump out one of these pods? And then Kevin Owens like, oh, good timely reference there. I popped at that. I thought it was pretty funny. So
that's the only thing I know about NXT, because that's all I've watched. So.
Well, you've got the War Games, both War Games match. You got the female and the male. Right now, Candice LeRae is putting her team together. It's Candice LeRae, Dakota Kai. Let me see. My bad for not remembering people's names. It's like I said, it's been a while.
It's that Bankston thought, you know.
Yeah, it really
is. It's the Bankston brain. We neither of us. We're gonna be like we're gonna be real bad when we get into our 50s and 60s.
I'm just coming off my 36th birthday a few months ago, and I'm already just like losing my mind. So, I can't. I'm trying to bring up results here and bring up names, but I can't. But Candice LeRae is putting together her team. Well, Ember Moon has been tag teaming with Toni Storm recently. Toni Storm turned heel, and is now with Candice LeRae. So
I thought I saw that photo. It was like Candice, Tony, Dakota Kai, and then the Dakota Kai's manager. I'm blanking on her name.
Yeah, is it Martinez or something like that?
This is why we're not professional YouTubers here.
See, this is why I just need to start taking notes.
Yeah.
So
let's see. Luckily, I follow Candace on Instagram, or at least I thought I did.
yeah.
Oh, fuck it. I can't find it. The hell with it.
The hell with it. But anyway, yeah, they put their team together. It's Team Shotzi versus Team Candace, and assuming Candace is going to have Ember Moon, or not Candace, but Shotzi Blackheart will probably have Ember Moon on her team.
Yeah.
And that's the whole thing right now is they've focused all the building right now on the heels, on Candace's team. Not so much off of Shotzi. Shotzi will be back on TV next week from what they've been promoting. So yeah. I'm more than sure that they're going to start building that team from there.
Yeah.
So, but that's like and then the third biggest story right now is the men's War Games match. You have the returning Undisputed Era.
Yeah.
Going up against Pat McAfee's team.
And then Pat McAfee's team is
Oni
Pat,
Lorcan, Pat,
Oni, Danny, and Pete Dunne.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they had the War Games Advantage match this week with Pete Dunne and Kyle O'Reilly in a ladder match, and it was pretty damn solid.
All right, so I'll have to go.
I forgot how much I liked Pete Dunne.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, I forgot how good he was.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but no, NXT's been pretty good. Like I said, they're focusing on, like the last couple of weeks, they've been focusing on building more of the heel stables and stuff. So I'm guessing starting this upcoming Wednesday, they'll start focusing more on the face. One notable thing that did happen was they showed Candice and Johnny leaving the building. And when they got into their SUV, they were driving away. There was someone in the back seat behind the driver's seat wearing a Scream mask. And someone's like, "Oh, there's another ghost face." I thought, and I was like, I don't know if that's a past reference to something or what, but
I don't know.
Yeah, so that'll probably.
I know Dexter. I know Dexter Loomis has the whole serial killer thing that he's been doing his entire career, but because he did that stuff in TNA. So
Dexter Loomis had a blindfold match last week.
Oh, wonderful!
Against I don't remember the guy's name, but he's like a really goofy, this real goofy guy, and I'm like, I've never seen him before, and I'm just like, this is so stupid. So, because I guess the guy that he wrestled, let me see if I could find the guy's name. He gets scared when he sees Dexter's eyes, and he thought he could beat Dexter if he blindfolded him.
Oh,
Cameron Grimes.
Oh yeah, I know Cameron Grimes.
Yeah, so he had a blindfold match with Cameron Grimes, and it was entertaining. It was a funny little segment, but I'm like, this is so dumb.
Those goofy like stipulation matches, like blindfold matches, they can be entertaining.
Yeah,
like I know, like a lot of people look back on them and are like, "Oh, it's crap." Like looking back on like Jake the Snake and Rick Martel.
Yeah, that's really the only good one.
Yeah, and you look back at it, it's like, well, it could be entertaining, but it only works, I think, when you have a crowd around you.
Yeah. They made it work. They made it work. Yeah. I mean, even with the small crowd that's around the ring at NXT.
Yeah.
Whether I'm guessing I don't know if they're fans or if they're superstars.
No, I think most of them are superstars. Performance center people.
Yeah. Like, they made it work. It really kind of helped with the psychology of it all. Like, basically the whole time, Dexter Loomis just stood in one place.
Yeah.
While what was the guy's name?
Cameron Grimes.
Cameron Grimes kind of worked it. Like, he ended up like punching the referee on accident, and he thought it was Dexter. And when he took his blindfold off, he started backing up, and then he walked right into him. The psychology works, but it's like just the gimmick of the match. I'm like, God, not a blindfold match. So, but for the sake of storytelling, it fit whatever they were trying to tell. So
yeah.
But no, it was entertaining.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, but now go back, try to watch the NXT. It's been okay lately. Like, watch the ladder match. The ladder match was fun. So there's just there were some pretty crazy bumps. So
right.
Check it out. Yeah,
I'll have to check it out. So Riddle, Sheamus, and then the ladder match.
Do you want me to give you the result of it?
Yeah, go ahead. It doesn't really matter.
All right, so this is for the War Games advantage.
Yeah.
And before the match started, they were showing a clip from Pat McAfee's podcast saying that, "Oh, I'm not going to be at NXT this week, but Pete Dunne, whoever you're fighting from the Undisputed Era, you kicked their ass and everything like that." Well,
yeah.
Kyle O'Reilly was climbing up the ladder, and then a man in a lucha mask ran out and interfered and knocked Kyle O'Reilly off the ladder, and Pete Dunne climbed up and got the advantage.
Yeah.
So
and the lucha mask guy was Pat McAfee.
It was never revealed.
Oh, okay.
Just assuming it was Pat McAfee. So
is Pat McAfee going to be in the War Games match, or is he a manager?
He is going to be in the War Games match. So
that's a hell of a, because he had that match with Adam Cole, which I thought was pretty good.
Yeah.
And then going right into War Games, the dude's
got balls, man.
Yeah, I mean, like, I remember watching that match with Adam Cole, and I was like, Pat McAfee, he's green because he does not, this is his first match.
Yeah.
But it was a hell of a match, and he has a hell of an opponent, but he was taking some pretty big risks.
Yeah.
Like he did that like springboard, like swanton bomb onto like a group of guys, and it's just like, Jesus Christ, dude, just slow down.
Unlike other tough ex-NFL players who were afraid to fall from a 6-foot platform.
Our current NFL
players, I should say. Hey, you got to give Pat. He's an athlete, and and on top of it, he's a wrestling fan, and he said if he wasn't going to be a football player, he wanted to be a wrestler. Yeah. And I like Pat McAfee. I've always found him entertaining as hell. I listen to his podcast, and I watch his stories on YouTube.
I watch his show every now and then.
Like you're a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. Go on YouTube and watch the story that he tells about Troy Polamalu. And cool. the dude is a storyteller, and he's absolutely hilarious. But I'm excited to see it. I still haven't watched the match that he had with Adam Cole.
Yeah.
But it's something I will go back and watch because I want to see it. So.
Yeah, like he was. Remember how surprised some people were with Stephen Amell?
Yeah.
Like when he had his match, the tag team match with
Stardust,
with Neville and whoever he faced, Stardust, and I think it was Wade Barrett or something like that. I can't remember.
I don't know.
But like people were like, "Oh yeah," well, I'm like, dude, this guy's kind of athletic,
Yeah.
He's in shape, he's everything. But like with McAfee, you're like, this dude is a punter, and he's doing the things that he's doing. I'm like, this guy probably should have been like, could have probably been like a backup, like, cornerback or something.
Well, it was funny with him because a few years ago when the Bears kicker Cody Parkey missed that field goal to eliminate them from the playoffs, the Bears were looking for a kicker, and they were talking about bringing Pat McAfee in.
Oh, really?
As a kicker, and he's a natural punter, but they wanted to get him as a kicker. So.
But I mean, I've seen what Pat McAfee is capable of, and he'll probably do some wild stunt where he jumps off the top of the cage. So I'm kind of looking forward to that.
It'll be fun.
Yeah. So, any other notes on NXT before we get into AEW?
No, that's it for NXT. I'll try to have a better recollection of what happened on the show.
Well, when is War Games? Is it this upcoming week?
Let me look. I don't think it's this upcoming week because they still have to build. War Games will be December 6th. So not this Sunday, but the following.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, I mean, obviously I'll watch it, but.
Yeah.
But going on from NXT into All Elite Wrestling. This week's episode, despite the fact that not much happened, it was still a very entertaining episode from start to finish.
Mm-hmm.
The match between Adam Page and John Silver was really good.
John Silver's fucking hilarious, man.
Oh, yeah.
He looks like a giant midget. It's like from his toes to his head, he looks like, a small man. But then his arms come into play, and he looks like a midget that drink gamma rays or something.
Those kicks that he throws are stiff as fuck.
Hell yeah.
Jesus Christ. Like I saw that when he wrestled Orange Cassidy at the pay-per-view.
Yeah.
And I was slightly familiar with John Silver. Like I saw a lot of his stuff on Being the Elite, which is what made me a fan of John Silver.
Yeah.
But the whole Johnny Hunky thing and
the Meat Man.
Yeah.
That I cracked up at that. The Meat Man.
His weirdly slightly homoerotic stuff that he does.
Yeah.
He's hilarious on Being in the Elite, and weirdly he's become the MVP. Like he and Brandon Cutler have become the stars of Being in the Elite. It's a very odd thing considering it's supposed to be about the Young Bucks, and Kenny Omega. Well, Kenny really hasn't been on, but Hangman is still kind of just he's obviously doing phenomenal work, but at the same time, he's kind of in between a feud. He ended up picking up the win against Silver, and then the Dark Order tried to recruit him, which kind of played into what they're doing on BTE, which I thought was kind of cool. Because usually it's usually it's a separate thing. Because on BTE they do when Brody won the TNT title, they celebrated by chanting "Fuck Hangman."
Nice.
That's their big thing. They'll just randomly start chanting it.
Nice.
So and they kind of teased Hangman joining the Dark Order.
Yeah.
And they've been doing it for months. Where they're "Oh, you had a chance to get Hangman," and Brody throws the papers in their faces and everything. It's funny, but it looks like Hangman's next feud is probably going to be with Brody after Brody comes back.
Is he injured?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. How bad?
I'm not sure. I think it's just a minor injury, but that's probably the next big feud for Hangman, at least until this whole thing with Kenny plays out and the Young Bucks and everything. Let's see what else happened on AEW. I'm kind of drunk right now. I'm about 2 beers in.
I can see it. You got a couple in. I can see it in your face.
Yeah. What else happened on AEW? I didn't take notes, so.
I didn't either. So, and I just watched it today.
Yeah.
So.
Let's see.
Let
me.
You had Anna Jay versus Kushida.
Yeah, that was a good match. Kind of expected, Kushida to kind of dominate a little bit, which is what she did. Anna Jay still looked good. I know Anna Jay had a match with, I think it was Brandy, a month or two ago that people raved about.
Yeah.
Which is a shocker because, Brandy isn't the greatest worker.
Yeah.
And Anna Jay is still really young.
Yeah.
So.
Will Hobbs, or Powerhouse Hobbs.
Powerhouse Hobbs.
Yeah, he had his debut as a Team Taz member where he squashed some guy that was 0-17, now 0-18 on Dynamite.
Yeah.
And after the match,
Lee Johnson was his name.
Yeah, Lee Johnson. There you go. And then after the match, Taz came down from the commentary table to say that he had business to take care of.
Yeah.
Calling out AEW management, wanting them to make the FTW title legit and put some respect on it.
Yeah.
And they kind of did the CM Punk pipe bomb thing where they kept cutting off his mic, and then Cody finally came out. They kind of went back and forth, and then Cody crossed the line. Yeah, TNA, baby.
By mentioning that Taz's son was training
Hook
with... Yeah. Hook, is that his name?
That's his name. His name is Hook. That's actually kind of cool.
Yeah. Is training with the Nightmare Family I'm guessing at QT Marshall's school.
Yeah, which
at least that's what I assume.
Yeah, which prompted Taz to, get a little bit upset and act like he's walking out, and then Cody turns the camera to tell him to cut, and then Taz puts him in the Taz mission and puts him to sleep.
That's kind of cool because I thought that was a good segment because, I mean, it kind of shows that Taz is still who he is, like AEW is doing with Taz what TNA should have did with Taz.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Well, I'm just saying, he's the mouthpiece for Team Taz, but at the same time, the dude can choke a motherfucker out if he wants to.
Hell yeah,
despite the fact that he's, 50 years old and, he looks like a silo now.
He's still the human suplex machine, no matter which way you cut it.
Yeah,
he'll still mess you up. But I find it funny with Taz. Like I love the guy. I've always been a fan of his. But on commentary, he's just kind of cringy at times. But when he cuts a promo, he's awesome.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. I watch AEW Dark every now and then.
Yeah.
He has amazing chemistry with Excalibur.
Yeah, he does.
Because they're just both kind of joking around the entire time, to an extent, they're taking it serious, but at the same time, they both have that jokester chemistry, which I think is kind of fun. It's sort of like the similar chemistry that Excalibur has with Don Callis.
Yeah.
So.
And there were no Drew McIntyre moments with Taz, which was fantastic.
Oh yeah, we forgot to mention Adam Pearce calling
Drew McIntyre. Drew
McIntyre. I'm going back to that. I'm Adam Pearce is arguably one of the best mic men of the last 20 years, and I'm not even joking when I say that.
No, absolutely.
Go back and watch some of his promos that he cut on Colt Cabana during his feud with the NWA title, or just in general, just any of his promos. The dude is one of the most charismatic guys around.
Yeah.
And then he has a gaffe like that, and I'm he's going to be forever known as the guy that said Drew McIntyre.
Unfortunately. He's no longer Scrap Iron. He's the Fart Man.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, but that segment, going back to AEW, the segment with Taz and Cody, it told a good story.
Yeah.
And it makes sense to what Taz is going for.
Yeah.
I like Team Taz. I'm a big Brian Cage fan.
Yeah.
I love Brian Cage. So seeing him being put in this kind of main, it's almost like a upper main event or upper mid card type of feud and storyline is actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
And Brian Cage is not the best when it comes to the microphone.
No.
So it's good to have someone like Taz be his mouthpiece.
Yeah. I will say with Brian Cage, I'm glad that he's doing the Who Betta.
Yeah.
Because he had a relationship with Canyon.
Yeah.
Which I think Canyon, a lot of people, he had a pretty rough life near the end of his, near the end of his life. And it's kind of cool seeing people pay tribute to him.
Yeah.
So.
Rest in peace, Canyon.
Yeah. But next match was Top Flight and the Hybrid 2. Honestly, not that good.
No,
it was kind of rough at moments. The Top Flight looked fantastic against the Young Bucks.
Yeah.
That match the week prior was fantastic. It was probably one of the top 10 best tag team matches of the year.
Mm-hmm.
But this match, which is kind of surprising because both of the Hybrid 2, they're both good wrestlers. And Helico and Jack Evans. Yeah, I mean, they're both pretty good wrestlers. So it's I wonder why their chemistry didn't match.
Yeah.
I
don't know. This was one match where I was watching and I lost interest in it.
Yeah.
And it's nothing against these guys. They're all very athletic. They're very talented, but I don't know. There was the story and the psychology just wasn't there. Yeah. It was just we're gonna have a tag team match with these up and comers, with these up and coming high flyers versus these veteran high flyers, and let's see what happens. And it's just
I mean, I'm glad to see the Hybrid 2 finally get something to do because it looks like they're going to be the next challengers for the Young Bucks.
Yeah.
And, Jack Evans has been wrestling for like 20 years now.
Yeah.
Or like 15 or 20 years, something close to it. So it's finally cool to see him get, the recognition of that. But at the same time, the match at Top Flight did not resonate as well as the Young Bucks match did.
No.
And Top Flight, they're young. Like, I think one guy is 21 and the other is 19 years old.
Yeah, they're brothers, right?
Yeah. So, like, and these guys are going to be great in like 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, they just need the work.
Yeah, like very similar to the Young Bucks in that sense, where like they really came into their own like 2 or 3 years after they debuted.
Yeah.
So, but yeah.
And hopefully, if they're actually being mentored by the Young Bucks, they'll learn and they'll slowly build them up because they're as exciting as they are and as good as they are athletically right now. You can tell just psychology wise, it's not there.
Yeah.
It is working trying to work too many high spots into a match rather than, slowing it down a bit and then build it. Because what really happened, I've noticed with this match with the Hybrid 2 is the breakdowns happened late in the match. Yeah. And that's where I stopped. That's where I lost interest.
Yeah.
So.
But after the match, Hybrid 2 worked over Top Flight some more, and the Young Bucks came out and made the save.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to stop the recording because I have to go to the bathroom.
Okay.
So.
He's got to go pee.
Yeah. I would say just keep it going, but I'll have to edit this out.
Yeah. No worries.
Maybe. Shit, what the hell? There it goes.
Dave broke his mouse.
Yeah.
His moose.
And we're back.
All right.
Sorry about that, folks. I had to drain the lizard. That Broken Skull IPA is going right through me.
There you go.
Yeah. Dang old Broken Skull IPA.
Hell
what?
No.
But
no brewery.
Yeah. But we mentioned the women.
No, well, we're going in order of
of
the matches. So after Hybrid 2 and Top Flight, you had SCU versus Jericho and Hager. And it's hard to believe that with Jericho being in the wrestling business for 30 years or whatever it is, it's the first time that him and Daniels have touched.
Is it the first time that they've wrestled each other?
So first time.
I could have swore they wrestled each other a few months back.
No, they were saying in commentary it's the first time that Jericho and Christopher Daniels have ever touched.
Yeah, I mean it's funny to think about Daniels. He's finally starting to look
his age,
like somewhat his age, but he's still pretty good.
Yeah,
like especially like his like body type. Like he's a lot thicker than he was 10 years ago.
Yeah,
he was 40 years old 10 years.
Yeah,
10 years ago.
OMD.
But, yeah, like the dude has been wrestling probably just as long as Chris Jericho has, as far as I know.
Yeah.
So, but I think it's an okay match.
Yeah.
It's
the first time we've seen the Inner Circle all together, kind of coexisting on television.
Yeah.
After their Vegas trip.
I wanted to mention the Vegas trip. I think it's funny that Swoggle was on it because I think Swoggle has appeared on WWE television, Impact, because he's actually on the Impact roster.
He was on Impact this last week as
AJ Styles.
Phenomenal AJ Styles.
And then he appears on AEW television, which I think is kind of cool.
Yeah, get that paycheck, man.
Oh, the hardest working man in the business.
There you go.
Well, I listen to the Major Wrestling Figure podcast, so I'm starting to finally appreciate Swoggle.
All right.
For him being like, listen to his episode of the New Day Pod.
Okay.
Yeah, that one was pretty good. But Inner Circle defeated SCU.
Yeah.
Of course.
And it was a clean win too.
I thought MJF.
I'm joking.
Oh, okay.
Jericho references it later on in a promo where he calls it
a
clean win. Yeah.
That's funny. I must have missed that part. I think I was cooking Daisy's food.
It was fun.
Yeah, when I was on. But yeah, first time that we see like Inner Circle like coexisting. MJF, allowing them to gain the victory. So at least there was somewhat of a storyline, some storyline progress. But I'm interested to see where this leads.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's the good thing about this whole MJF Inner Circle thing. We don't know where it's going.
Right.
Is MJF going to take control of the Inner Circle?
Yeah.
Wardlow wasn't at ringside, was he?
Yeah, it was.
Was he?
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember seeing him, but I guess not.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think next week we'll get a better picture where this can possibly go.
Yeah.
Because they have the Diamond Dynasty Battle Royal next week for the ring.
Yeah.
And MJF's in it. Sammy Guevara's in it. So I think we'll get more of kind of a direction that they're going to get, especially if there's any type of animosity with MJF, Wardlow, Sammy Guevara.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Santana and Ortiz are going to be in it as well.
Yeah.
So I don't know if Jericho's going to be in it, but
he'll probably be on commentary, knowing him.
Yeah.
But the next segment was the contract signing. We did forget to mention the promo that Kenny cut earlier in the night.
Yeah.
Where he said, I forgot what the main crux was, but I know he ended it up, like after he cut his promo, he came back to the interviewer and then he started talking even more. And then he said that his dad would beat up Mox's dad.
Yeah.
Which I thought was kind of funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's with the Justin Roberts introduction of Kenny Omega now? About the Wrestling Observer Hall of Famer and then the NASCAR Hall of Fame being in North Carolina.
I know the North Carolina thing is like a Michael Jordan reference.
Okay.
But as far as the other stuff goes, I think it's just Kenny being Kenny, telling him to, say some fun stuff. And
right.
Weirdly, he's not like, we're kind of getting the cleaner back, like to an extent, but he's not acting like he was back when he was in New Japan.
Yeah.
Now, the interesting thing about this segment, about this contract signing, is they tried to do it last week, and Mox was laid out.
Mm-hmm.
And earlier in the night, Mox confronted
Eddie Kingston
and saying, "Hey, like as if like he's the one who attacked him."
Yeah.
And Eddie's like, "Hey, you know who did this?"
Yeah, it wasn't me.
Yeah, and it doesn't seem like Kenny is the one who attacked Mox last week.
Right.
There's a lot of theories going around about who this is. A lot of people think a lot of people might think it's Kenny. Some people are thinking maybe it's some newer guy. A lot of people are saying it's Kenta.
Huh.
Yes, Kenta has been cutting promos on Mox in New Japan because he's number one contender for the U.S. title, and Mox still holds the U.S. title.
Yeah.
So, and they've been very, very, liberal with how they mentioned like New Japan.
Really?
On commentary, like even at the pay-per-view. I think it was it the pay-per-view? I can't remember when it was, but when Don Callis was on commentary, Don Callis works for Impact.
Yeah.
But he's an executive at Impact, but he also works with New Japan. So a lot of people are thinking that forbidden door with New Japan and AEW is finally opening up.
Okay.
So the speculation is that it might be Kenta who attacked Mox.
Yeah.
But we'll see. But
it's making this
contracts. What's that?
It's making the title match for next week even more exciting.
Yeah. But And like the way they even like framed it is that Kenny didn't attack Mox. That's another way they framed it.
Mm.
So hopefully, and Kenta lives in Florida too.
Oh.
So.
And there's travel restrictions. Can't go to Asia. Can't go anywhere. So why not?
Well, you have to quarantine and everything, but
yeah.
If he went back a couple weeks back, he would only have to quarantine for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
If he came back to the United States.
Right.
So, but they had the contract signing. They set it up similarly to last week. Kenny came out while Kenny was making his entrance, which was probably one of the best visuals I think I've seen in a while. Like they have that screen where it shows like the silhouette of Kenny.
Yeah.
And then behind him you see Mox kind of like behind him warming up about to attack him. That was phenomenal.
Yeah.
I thought that was a great visual. Then Mox beat the hell out of Kenny and everything, and then he cut a promo afterwards.
Signs the contract.
Yeah, signs the contract that he wasn't able to sign last week. But that segment made me look forward to this title match so much.
Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong, I was looking forward to the match anyway.
Yeah.
But like this match was like, okay, there's going to be some serious shit that goes on in this match.
Yeah.
So, and that was another interesting part was that, like Kenny was like, oh, John would have to wrestle my way. He would have to wrestle, beat me in the middle of the ring. Well, John, I don't think is going to work that way.
Yeah.
That's not the John that you're going to get. John's going to work the way John works.
Right.
But, great segment. The beatdown was fine. Was great. Mox's promo was fantastic. I mean, it just shows you what WWE missed out on with Mox.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people and I understand the criticisms of Mox, like this title reign, how long it's gone, and they haven't. It seems like they're just going from feud to feud, not really like building anything up. But I mean, his title reign has been fantastic. All of his matches have been good.
Mm-hmm.
Not much you can ask for a champion, from a champion, And I can't wait for next week. Yeah. Like, do you have a prediction on who's going to win next week?
I'm going into this not knowing about the whole Kenta situation.
Yeah.
Or speculation, I should say.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think Mox is going to retain.
Mm-hmm.
But actually, no. I think Kenny will actually win the title.
Yeah.
But it is going to be due to some sort of outside interference, whether it's Kenta or whoever this person who attacked Moxley is.
Yeah.
So there's going to be some kind of outside interference that Mox is going to lose the title, and then he's going to have to fight back to get that title shot again. And he's going to whoever it is that interferes with this match, Moxley will run his program with him before he goes back to get the title from Omega.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm predicting right now.
That's what my thought was. It will be interesting to see what happens, because I know like Kenny is doing stuff with like the Young Bucks as far as like, they kind of split that group up, but did they? They're kind of playing that. Personally, I do hope that Kenny wins, just because, like, don't get me wrong, I'm a fan of Mox's reign.
Yeah.
At the same time, they need to freshen it up.
Yeah.
And I think Kenny winning, even if it's just for like a couple months, I think it would benefit both guys.
Right.
Because it kind of takes that burden of having to carry the show and with Mox, and it kind of builds Kenny back up to where we all thought he would be.
Yeah.
Like we all thought, Kenny was going to be the man
from right off the bat.
Yeah, like, Kenny, he's going to be the one elite guy that we know is going to be the champion, and everything. So it'll be interesting. I want to see Kenny win, but I'm definitely looking forward to the match.
Yeah.
The whole winter is coming thing makes me laugh. It's like, really?
It's dead. Game of Thrones ended a year ago. Let's just let it go. Let it go.
But yeah, it is what it is. Any other thoughts on the segment?
No, I loved it. It was an A+ segment.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, like hands down A+.
Yeah. All right, so the next, I'm just going off a report. I'm just reading like matches, like not really any backstage segments or anything.
No.
The next match was the AEW Women's Championship match. Hikaru Shida versus Anna Jay.
Mm-hmm.
It was okay.
Yeah.
A good showcase for Shida. Showing. I'm just glad that she's getting featured.
Yeah.
Because it seemed to me like they were focusing more on the NWA women's title.
Yeah, I noticed that.
And so it's kind of cool to see, Shida finally get somewhat of a spotlight. She ended up picking up the victory in somewhat of a glorified squash match, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Which, again, Anna Jay is young.
Yeah.
And I think she got a bright future. And once the Dark Order starts picking up steam,
mm-hmm.
she's going to be set.
Yeah.
Or at least they continue the role that they're on.
Yeah.
Like once Brody comes back and everything.
Yeah.
But she picked up the victory, I think, after a knee to the face, right?
Yeah. After Shining Wizard.
Yeah, after a Shining Wizard.
Yeah.
And after the match, we had an injured superstar or an injured wrestler come back. That was Abaddon.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of Abaddon. I love the whole zombie thing, the zombie like that whole like Asian horror, the ring monster thing that she does. A lot of people like compare her to Rosemary, but like, yes, it's very similar, but at the same time, like, she is legitimately scary looking.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Like, I'm not familiar with her at all, and then when I saw her walk out, and there was just like that one spot of like fake blood on the ramp. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, she is. With Abaddon, they need to get the production right.
Yeah.
I noticed like with her entrance, they put like they don't turn up the lights or anything. Mm-hmm. Like if they kind of Finn Balor or like demoned up her entrance a little bit, like to where it was just like a red light on her.
Yeah.
Like I think that would like kind of boost her like at least presentation up, but like as far as her gimmick goes, she lives it. She's fantastic.
Nice.
She isn't the best worker, but again, she's really young too.
Yeah.
Like she's only been wrestling for like I think like 2 or 3 years now.
Oh wow.
Yeah, like if AEW continues on this, their women's division is going to be fantastic, especially when Chris Statlander comes back and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And Britt Baker is continuing to do everything that she's doing.
And she's back in action next week.
Yeah, and she's great and everything. And there's potential for AEW's women's division. It just needs to be focused on.
Right.
Adding Thunder Rosa, adding Serena Deeb will definitely boost them up.
Yeah. Bring those veterans in to really refine it.
I think, personally, I do hope Abaddon wins the title. Like, whenever they decide to do that match. I hope they don't do what they did with... what's her name?
God, to hell with it.
I'm blanking out on her name. I'm sorry. I'm kind of buzzed right now, so... Give me a second.
Yeah, I don't know who you're talking about, so...
Yeah. She held the title before Shida.
Another Japanese lady?
No, that's Nyla Rose.
Okay.
I don't know why I blanked on her name like that. I'm a fan of Nyla Rose. I think she's pretty good. But, like, they really built her title. Like, they were, like, kind of, like, postponing her title match, like, over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think was kind of detrimental to the division.
Yeah.
I think hopefully they don't do that with Abaddon.
Yeah.
So, but I am looking forward to that. And they had a match not too long, a few months ago, Shida and Abaddon, and it was pretty good.
Wow.
And like they've worked before too, so So that'll be interesting to watch. Blah, 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 blah. And then the main event was Pac and Ray Phoenix versus the Butcher and the Blade.
Yeah.
Was that the main event?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was okay.
Yeah.
I was surprised to see Butcher and Blade get the victory, considering Pac just came back.
I know.
Yeah. But interesting, like this feud with like Eddie Kingston, and it just kind of came out of the blue.
Yeah.
In my opinion. Like they just like all like they built up weeks of Eddie Kingston kind of sliding Ray Phoenix. Like he was like, you know, like Penta's my best friend, and oh yeah, Ray Phoenix, like whatever.
Eddie Kingston's hilarious, man.
Oh yeah, he's fantastic. I'm glad when he got the match with Mox, especially that pay-per-view main event. I was like, that's fucking awesome because the dude has legitimately been wrestling for like the last 20 years.
Yeah.
And like he was like an indie staple for the longest time, Ring of Honor, CCW, all these companies. So it's kind of cool to see him finally get that, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, just a very odd. Like all of a sudden, like last week, they were like they broke him up, and I'm like, this could have been pushed a little bit farther for a couple weeks.
Yeah.
At least built up the tension, but they were just like, oh, fuck it, we're just going to put the Lucha Bros back with Pac.
Yeah.
You know. But it was still a good match. You know, Pac is, you know, amazing.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, so is Ray Phoenix. And Butcher and the Blade, while they're not the greatest, like, at least the Butcher, he isn't, like, the greatest, but...
He serves his purpose, though.
Yeah, and, like, just a big, you know...
Big burly guy.
Yeah. But he's starting to progress a lot too, though. Like from where he was when he first came into the company.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when they were just, oh, it's the Butcher and the Blade.
Yeah.
Who are they?
Yeah.
So, but it's cool to see them actually get a spot, as opposed to just being like another cog in the, you know, in the tag team division. So, but you know. I wonder if this is just building up to Pac and Eddie Kingston. Is this, you know, at least they're doing something with them. It was a good match. Butcher and Blade, like I said, picked up the win.
Yeah.
Not really much to say about it. I know Penta, he came out after the match and was like, you know, who are you going to be with? And you know, he ended up choosing his brother and his other stablemate. So,
which resulted into a beatdown and 3 DDTs on a steel chair from Eddie Kingston.
Yeah. But, yeah, I mean, it was a pretty good episode of, despite not much story, like, as far as, like, a go-home episode to, like, a big, like, big blow-off show, you know, I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, I agree.
And I hope that personally, for as much as I don't want NXT to suffer, but at the same time, I want to see AEW's audience grow.
Yeah.
So I hope that they pull the big rating next week.
Yeah.
So, but
let's hope so. I mean, just with the fact that Kenny Omega is wrestling Jon Moxley, it's going to it'll give him a good rating.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah.
But that's it.
Close there. It's the old ankle there.
I mean, like, it's so goddamn dry where I live that, like, I'm constantly scratching my legs because of how dry my skin is.
That's how it's been here the last couple of days of the winds. So
yeah. But yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to winter is coming, or whatever the hell they're calling it.
Yeah.
They didn't have any more WCW names they could.
I guess. So they got to rip off old HBO stuff from 2 years ago. So
pretty much, yeah.
It's over. It's dead. Get over it. The finale of Game of Thrones sucked, and you by naming your pay-per-view event after it is not going to be much better. So
any other thoughts on AEW?
No. Like I said, I'm just jumping back into it, so it seems like a lot of these storylines are directionless right now, and they're all just trying to throw stuff together for the winter is coming episode of Dynamite.
Yeah.
overall, as far as the Wednesday Night Wars go, AEW has been the better show lately.
Yeah.
I think NXT only having 1 hour a week kind of hurts them and limits them to what stories that they can tell. But also their roster being so slim.
NXT has 2 hours.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I watch it on Hulu. I only get an hour.
Yeah, they only put an hour on Hulu.
Oh, okay. Well.
Yeah.
Never mind then.
Yeah. If you watch on the network, they put the full 2 hours on the network. I think like the day after.
Oh, okay. Then I'll have to start doing that then.
Yeah, like my thing is I'll watch AEW, the East Coast feed of AEW live on the TNT app.
Yeah.
Since I don't have a cable provider and I'm ripping off your
Spectrum account. You're welcome.
So if you guys ever cancel your Spectrum account, I'm kind of fucked over.
Yeah.
And then like if I want to watch NXT, like I have to wait till the next day.
All right.
And that's what kind of fucks me up as far as watching wrestling, because I'm like, on Wednesday, that's my wrestling day.
Yeah.
Like I look forward to watching AEW all day long.
Right.
So like not being able to watch NXT after, like it just kind of like, okay, after Wednesday I'm out of wrestling mode unless there's a pay-per-view that Saturday or Sunday.
All right. Well, I'll have to check out the second hour of NXT on the network. So
yeah, I think they just do like a chopped up like a greatest hits on Hulu.
Oh, okay.
That's why I don't watch it on Hulu, because I was like, yeah, they're only going to show me part of it.
All right.
Which sometimes, I mean, that's fine. NXT had some of its best times only being an hour.
Yeah, that's true.
So, but we don't have a list this week or anything like that. At the end of Survivor Series, they did the farewell to Undertaker.
Yeah.
Which has drawn a lot of criticism, and kind of understandably so.
Yeah.
Because you kind of want to see Undertaker say goodbye to an audience.
Yeah, that's been my whole thing. Like I was talking to my wife, the wonderful my wife, the wonderful Elizabeth, and I was even telling her, I was like, I feel bad for him.
Yeah.
You know, because the guy worked his ass off. He stayed with this company for basically his entire career.
30 years.
30 years. I mean, literally 30 years. I mean, he debuted on November 22nd, 1990. He retired November 22nd, 2020.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's unheard of, especially in any type of athletic.
Yeah.
You know, and how popular and how important he was to this company. He absolutely deserved to say goodbye in front of people.
Yeah.
You know, not in front of, and given it's not of anything that he did wrong, it's unfortunately because of the circumstances that we're living in right now.
Yeah.
You know, but that's the only, and it's not even a criticism. It's more just a feeling.
Yeah.
You know, I can't critique, you know, the segment that they did, because they have to work with what they have, and that's what they had.
I mean, I'll gladly critique it, like having guys just make their entrance and then just having them disappear.
That was stupid.
And I'm like, why couldn't they just stand around the ring? Like, wouldn't that have been more effective?
Yeah.
To where at least Undertaker is addressing somebody.
Yeah.
As opposed to, like he was pausing for like these like fake little breaks, these like canned.
Yeah, so they could
cheers.
Pump crowd noise in.
Yeah, and I'm just like, it just like, to me, I'm like, wouldn't it have just been easier to have the guys out there, like his peers, like cheering him on, and
kind of like they did with Ric Flair.
Yeah, and I don't know, like, and they kept it short, so I hope like when he does his Hall of Fame speech, it'll be in front of a big crowd of people. Yeah. So at least we have that to look forward to.
No.
So like even like Vince disappeared. Like, so all the guys made their entrances. Like I wrote them down, but like Kane is the only one who came out and like ring gear. Yeah. He was out there for like 5 seconds, and then they just cut to black and cut to the video package, which was well done with Metallica. Yeah, I thought it was cool and everything. And then Like,
Vince disappeared, which is what we kind of hope happens every single week that WWE's on television.
Yeah, but like Vince, he like disappeared. He cut his little promo, then he disappeared. I'm just like, is Undertaker going to be talking to nobody?
Yeah.
And then apparently, yeah, and he kept it short, which I think works for the Undertaker. Yeah. Like I said, hopefully when he does his
Hall
of Fame speech, they'll give him all the time he wants. There'll be at least thousands of people, a couple thousand people in attendance.
For that Hall of Fame, it should just be him.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That's it. Even if it's only a half an hour, it should just be an hour, 2-hour show all dedicated to him, and then he comes out the last half hour and does his thing.
Yeah. And that's my thing with the WWE Hall of Fame is that you don't need to have a class of like 5 or 6 people.
No.
Or 7 people or anything. You could have like 1 or 2 guys headline and give them time to talk, give their inductors a chance to speak and everything. But like when they do these like 4-hour broadcasts of like people just talking and talking and talking,
I don't need to hear a 30-minute speech from Barry Horowitz.
No. But I will say I did like the little like hologram Paul Bear that they had. I thought that was a nice touch. It was a good moment for what it was, but I wish they would have saved it for a crowd. But I understand it was 30 years of Undertaker.
Mm-hmm.
The fans still got to embrace it by watching it, so it is what it is.
Yeah, like I enjoyed it. Like I sat there the whole time, assuming something or someone was going to come out. Like I'm like, God damn it! If they send in Retribution or anything like that, I'm going to be pissed. And I really sat there the whole time, like waiting. Oh, maybe the Fiend's going to pop up and they're going to do a career retrospect, kind of like they did with the Firefly Funhouse match or whatever. And I'm like, this isn't happening. And then when he actually walked up back the ramp, I got a little emotional. I'm not going to lie. I'm like, wow, this might really be it.
Yeah.
I mean, this might be his retirement for good. And then watching the Broken Skull sessions with Stone Cold afterwards.
I hope Broken Skull sessions.
And him just kind of like, he's like, I mentally I can do it, but he's like, I know physically I just don't have the tools to do it anymore. And I'm like, wow, I really think this is it. So
I would love to have seen the raw footage of that interview because, like Steve Austin said that he and Undertaker were never really like close, but it seems like these guys could tell like some pretty
good
great stories.
I'd like to see that the series continue on, like every couple of months, do another Broken Skull session with Undertaker to tell more stories.
Yeah.
And what was funny, much like yourself right now, you can tell Undertaker was getting a little bit toasty with every shot that they did throughout the interview. So it was pretty funny.
Yeah. I'm starting to sober up right now.
Well, we're almost done, so
yeah, but
we go back to drinking.
Yeah, we don't have a list this week. We're just going to talk about our favorite Undertaker moments. Maybe if you have a particular match you want people to watch. Like eventually I think we'll do like a top 10 list or something.
Yeah. Well, for me, like I even like if you've been a long time listener of Studio 1500B Productions and you were with us when we started Beyond Kayfabe, I told a story. I remember when The Undertaker debuted.
Yeah.
I remember we came home from Thanksgiving dinner and we ordered Survivor Series. And I remember the Big Egg, which became Gobbledygooker. But before that happened, this giant dead guy wearing a trench coat and a big hat and a gray tie with Brother Love came out called The Undertaker. And I remember being scared to death of this guy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this guy's gonna kill everybody. He's dead. I thought you couldn't do that if you were dead. And like I legitimately believe that this man was actually dead. And it scared the piss out of me. It scared me so much that a year later, our Uncle John, who basically raised us, got tickets to go see WWF at the Anaheim Convention Center in 1991. And the main event that night was Hulk Hogan versus The Undertaker. And I chickened out and would not go because I thought The Undertaker would come into the crowd and literally kill me and put me in a body bag. True story. I was scared to death. I did not go. He took, I don't remember if you went. I think our cousin.
I don't know. I was young.
I think our cousin Brittany went, and she was even young. You guys are the same age.
Yeah.
So, but I remember for the longest time, I was like scared to death of The Undertaker. Then I kind of realized, what wrestling actually was.
Yeah.
And then he became one of my all-time favorites. Yeah. When Undertaker came back as American Badass, I was back in my Limp Bizkit Kid Rock days, and I would support the Undertaker bandana and got my hair cut short like the Undertaker. And even one year for Halloween, I wanted to be Deadman Undertaker, but our mother, who was too cheap to buy any new clothes for a costume or anything, just took my gray sweats, tried to dye them black, and then she did my face paint, and I ended up looking like fucking Sting. So, but I've always just been a fan of Taker. I mean, the matches are there. We know which ones are great. Obviously, my favorite is probably No Way Out versus Kurt Angle.
Yeah, spoiler alert, that's probably my favorite Undertaker match. I know a lot of people will say it's probably Shawn Michaels versus Undertaker at WrestleMania 25.
Which is great.
Don't get me wrong. One of the greatest matches of all time.
Yeah.
But I remember going to Nationals and watching that match with Undertaker and Kurt Angle at No Way Out 06. Yeah. And just how great of a match it was.
Yeah.
And I remember watching it the first time. I was like, this is probably one of the best matches I think I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And the fact that it stayed with me through all this time, where I was like, yeah, okay, it is.
Yeah.
But Undertaker, what's weird about the Undertaker, he did his best work in the second half of his career.
Oh, absolutely.
Like in the back end of that, like his full-time schedule is when he wrestled the best matches, when he wrestled, when he put the work rate in, when he did everything. And don't get me wrong, like he had some pretty great matches before then. Hell, I'll even throw it back to WrestleMania 12, which is arguably probably his first good WrestleMania match.
Yeah.
Against Diesel. Granted, it wasn't like where he was just a couple years later.
Mm-hmm.
But it was still a great match. But then, going back to, when he wrestled, Shawn at Hell in the Cell.
Yeah.
The first 5-star, it was a 5-star match for Meltzer, which for a WWE match just says something.
Yeah.
Probably, like, other than Undertaker versus Angle at No Way Out 06, I would say probably the next match that is probably one of my favorites is this match with Orton at WrestleMania 21.
Oh, yeah.
I was there for that one.
Yeah, you were.
And that was like the first time, like since the streak became a thing, that I was like, Undertaker could lose this.
Yeah.
And I know there was like rumors going around that Orton was going to be the guy.
Yeah.
Like I even think Undertaker said that but like that match was great, and it really showed like where Randy Orton was as far as like a worker. Like he, the entrance, it was kind of cool. They kind of had like the floating thing, like,
and he came out first too.
Yeah,
people don't remember he came out first.
Yeah, what's interesting is that like because they had the match previously, the match before ended, and they cut to like either like a video package or a backstage segment or the announcers. Yeah. That's when they set up all the stuff for it.
Right.
So you couldn't have Randy Orton come out and step onto the platform.
Right.
Because the platform was like at least like 8, 9, 10 inches high.
Mm-hmm.
So it obviously looked like he's stepping on something.
Right.
So you had to have Undertaker come out first. And that was interesting because I don't think I ever watched an Undertaker match like that where, especially their live, where he actually came out first.
Yeah, not to my recollection.
Like even when he was the American Badass, he came out second.
Because that gong, the gong was that, like people say, like when they're in the ring and that gong goes off, like they get goosebumps.
Yeah.
So.
And you get that in the crowd. Like if you were never able to see Undertaker live, like I've only seen him a handful of times.
Same here.
Like I think the first time was he at the Raw on your birthday? And what was it, 98?
I don't remember.
Because I remember
if he was, that was during the Ministry of Darkness.
Yeah, because if I remember, like that's when he had the when he would walk down the aisle, that's when the stuff would shoot off. Mm-hmm. Like the pyro would shoot off as you walked past it.
Right.
I think that was the first time we saw Undertaker live. I don't think, but after that, I didn't see him for a few years. He never really worked the pond or anything.
Right.
So.
Let's see. I've got it up right here. Let's see. Vader defeats D'Lo Brown. Bart Gunn defeats Steve Williams in a Brawl for All match. We were there.
Yeah.
Owen Hart versus Dan Severn. The DOA versus Farouk and Scorpio. Triple H versus The Rock.
Yeah.
Yeah, Austin and Undertaker wrestled in the tag team match against the New Age Outlaws for the tag team titles.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were there. So.
Yeah, because we had 2 seats. Because I remember
Dylan.
Yeah. Because the other one was like near the stage. I think you went towards there at one point. At one point during the night.
Yeah.
And you were like, you got to see like backstage, like you could see like, because that's before they started like blocking everything off.
Right.
And you could actually see behind the curtain. Mm-hmm. So.
Yeah, that was an awesome seat.
Yeah. But that was the first time I saw Undertaker live. I'm trying to think of any other time I've watched him live.
Yeah.
Besides WrestleMania, I saw him at Royal Rumble the same year as WrestleMania when he wrestled Hide and Rape.
Oh God!
in a casket match.
That's one of those not so memorable Undertaker moments.
I don't know. If you're in the crowd for it, it was fun.
Yeah.
Like I know on TV it doesn't translate. Like even I've gone back and watched it. And I was like, wow, this did not translate. But when you're in that crowd and you see him wrestling, you don't like, very rarely do you watch The Undertaker and go, boo. Like, this match sucks. Usually you're like, holy crap, it's The Undertaker.
Oh, absolutely.
It's sort of like when like you'd see Steve Austin or something, or, it's, you never watch for The Undertaker, even if he's in a terrible segment, you're like, holy crap, it's The Undertaker.
The Undertaker. Right.
Yeah. So,
like one thing as a wrestling fan, I mean, I know everybody always raves about like the 70s and the NWA and Harley Race and all that stuff. I'm so glad I grew up in the area where The Undertaker was the thing.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I got to watch him from the very beginning to the very end, good or bad.
Yeah.
Because I've always appreciated The Undertaker and I've always been a fan, and he's easily one of my top 5 favorites of all time.
Yeah. I've spent the last week watching old Undertaker clips, and one I'll always go back to that gets a shit ton of criticism, and deservedly so. And the reason why this sticks out to me is because when we moved to Arkansas, back when we were kids, we didn't really watch wrestling.
All right.
For a while.
WCW.
Yeah, we watched a little bit of wrestling. We didn't watch a ton of it though. I remember when we moved back in 94.
Yeah, 95.
Yeah. No, it was 94.
94, yeah.
Yeah. Because I remember Nanny moved into that apartment, and we went and rented SummerSlam 94.
Undertaker.
Yeah. So, like, that holds a special place in my heart because that's what kind of pulled me back into wrestling.
Right, yeah.
Is that we went to that video store that was near Nanny's apartment that we would always go to. We'd always, rent video games or movies or whatever. And I'm like, I want to rent, I saw SummerSlam 94 and I saw the way the case looked with Undertaker like broken up into 2.
Yeah.
So like it always like stood out to me like it's always special in my heart, despite the fact that people shit on the segment. It's one of my favorite Undertaker moments of all time.
Oh, yeah.
Just the whole entrance and Paul Bearer with the giant like urn with the light shooting out of it.
That was the coolest thing at the time.
Yeah. Jerry Lawler saying, "It's freezing in here, McMahon." Which I do every time like the power goes out or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That's always like one moment that stands out to me. That I love personally as a fan. I understand the criticisms behind it. It was goofy as hell. It was campy.
That was the times.
Yeah, but that was The Undertaker, though.
Yeah.
The Undertaker, like, when you get past, The Undertaker is kind of campy.
Oh, yeah.
He's a zombie walking. He's a zombie mortician walking around, It's not like we're supposed to take this serious, especially back in '94.
Right.
It was of the time, but I thought it was entertaining, and seeing like I would say Undertaker is the reason why I like the color purple.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, like
Undertaker Kings for me.
Yeah, like if you look back at all the logos for like Beyond Kayfabe, I've always incorporated the color purple into it.
Probably like too well here, but
and that's because of the Undertaker, because the Undertaker wore purple.
Yeah,
like he showed me that purple wasn't a girl's color. It was
did wear purple.
Yeah, it's I look back at my my life and around wrestling and everything, and it's shocking how much of it, like the darkness and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like I love like Jason Voorhees and Freddy Krueger. I wouldn't love Jason Voorhees and Freddy Krueger if it wasn't for the Undertaker.
Right.
So.
Yeah, the horror aspect.
Yeah.
So the horror, the magic, the darkness, all that stuff. Yeah. It was cool. Yeah. You didn't see that everywhere. The only place that you really saw it, especially when you're a kid, was when you turned on Monday Night Raw or when you watched Superstars. When The Undertaker came out. It's the only time you saw something like that. Yeah. And it was cool.
Yeah.
So The Undertaker was cool.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, the bottom line is... Yeah. I mean, the bottom line is Undertaker is one of a kind.
Yeah.
There will... I can guarantee there will never be a run like The Undertaker's ever again.
Never.
Like, I know... Like, Randy Orton is pretty close.
Yeah.
As far as, like, being with the company for so long...
Yeah.
But, like, The Undertaker, like, he was able to evolve himself and be able to stay relevant for all these years. Like, even when he just became, like, a 1-2 match guy a year, people were like, oh, what's Undertaker going to do this year?
Yeah.
Like even...
Right.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, you go. I said you go ahead.
I see people staying with the company, but, like, no one giving their all-out commitment to the character.
Yeah.
Even when kayfabe was dead, when kayfabe died and the internet happened, the Undertaker still stayed true to that character.
Yeah.
Even when he was the biker, like the only time you saw him really break was with the It's My Yard VHS tape, which you don't hear about very often, but it's out there. If you find it, it is out there. But as far as like interviews go and all that stuff, you will never see that happen ever again with the WWE or in wrestling, period.
I know a lot of people are like, man, they've really overexposed The Undertaker over the last month, but the dude has literally been like quiet for like the last 30 years.
Yeah.
Like, I think he's had like a handful. You could probably count on one hand how many interviews he's actually had where he's talked out of character.
Right.
And everything. So, I mean, if anybody deserves to be overexposed at this point, it's The Undertaker.
Yeah. Did you watch the cameo videos?
No, I haven't.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. do yourself a favor when we're done. Just YouTube it. I think there's someone compiled like 10 minutes of the cameo videos. Oh my God, Dave. You're gonna laugh your balls off. They're so bad. They're so bad. He's like giving people like life advice and like encouragement as the Undertaker. I believe in you. Give your mom a hug for me. I'm just like, oh my God. But it's fun. It's pretty awesome because, like you said, nobody deserves it more than Mark Calloway, the Undertaker. You know, it was cool seeing him do the Broken Skull sessions, appear on the Hot Ones. I don't know if you watched that.
I started watching it, but then like it's hard for me to get into that show when they're not like face to face.
Yeah, but
yeah,
but it's still cool, like seeing Undertaker, Mark Calloway, whatever, in this dynamic, and actually, you know, breaking down that fourth wall and like really showing what his personality is and what type of person he is. But yeah, it's been enjoyable to watch, and I'm personally gonna miss the Undertaker. I mean, it's been a rough ride the last few years with his health and everything, but it is time for him to go. I think the Boneyard match was a perfect way to put a stamp on his career because, you know, when he said, "I'm going to give you a holy trinity" to AJ Styles, the promo before, he gave him the Undertaker, he gave him American Badass, and he gave him Mark Calloway. Yeah. And that's what we needed to see. And, you know, just thank you for all the great memories, and thank you for doing what you do and sacrifice your body, whether it was physically, mentally, whatever, for my entertainment. And I appreciate you. And like I said, you'll forever go down as one of my top 3, top 5 favorite wrestlers of all time.
Definitely, easily.
So
yeah, I think that'll do it for this first episode.
I told Elizabeth, I was like, "Oh, I'll keep it short," and I'm like looking at the timer. We've been recording or been on the Skype call for 2.5 hours now. So
not every episode is going to be this long. I don't think we don't really need to do picks because that's not really this.
No, that's not our. Not yet, unless there's like a memorable match from the past that we want to bring up someday. But for our first initial run, we're going to skip the picks and everything, and I think we'll just close the show out.
But if you're watching this on YouTube, please like and subscribe. Leave a comment.
Absolutely.
You know, I would love to see somebody actually watch this and comment on it.
Yeah. Please. I know we were rusty, so please give us some constructive criticism. I enjoy it. I thrive off of it. Anything that we can do to make this show better, make myself better, please let us know.
As far as Mad Mike and Crispy, maybe they might get involved at some point. That's up to them.
Yeah.
So. Yeah. But if you want to support us, you know, obviously like and subscribe. You can buy our merch at on Teespring. If you go to fatpodcast.com, you'll find the merch link there, and I'll probably put it in the comment section, or at least in the description of the video.
I need to update my sweatshirt.
Yeah. So there'll be a couple of new shirts because I just got my new computer, so I have to figure out how like non-Photoshop works.
Yeah,
so I can do some new designs for Fat Asses Talk Wrestling.
Sweet.
So, yeah, but I think that'll do it for this week. I'm not sure if we're going to do this every week, maybe bi-weekly. We'll see.
We'll a lot of things, but weekly might be one of them.
Do you mean to say that?
I don't think I did.
But thank you for listening.
Yeah, all right, guys. Thank you.
Or watching.
Listening, watching. I'm sure we'll be up on Apple, iTunes, all that stuff. Like and subscribe there too.
Yeah, post a review if you're listening to the audio version of this.
I can't be the only one downloading the show, so
I know I'm probably the only other person doing it, not listening to it, but downloading it.
Just downloading it,
yeah.
Got to get those clicks.
Yeah, but for Fattest Talking Wrestling, I'm Debo.
I'm Bubs.
And thank you for watching.
Bye, guys.